morning and happy Thursday. Dan Kasper Show's on the air. Radio to Eyes, you got a couple of those babies. 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available online at sportstalk1051.com. You got the video stream also up and rolling on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. But happy Thursday. Appreciate you all making us a part of your start on this April 6th, day one of the Masters. Coming up a little bit later on this morning. Might be the only decent day. I don't even want to say good day, but it might be the only decent day out there for the Masters. But hey, if you didn't make your picks yesterday, I will say the majority are from yesterday were Rory, although I wouldn't say by a wide margin by any means, but if you haven't made your picks, you can text those, tweet them, Facebook them, however you want to go about it here this morning to get on our marker board here in the studio. What else we got on the game plan, though, this morning? Break up those Brewers, baby. Holy moly, walk-off win day thanks to Garrett Mitchell's walk-off home run. Brewers doing a little spring cleaning yesterday, getting the brooms out and sweeping the New York Mets 7-6. As we said, or as I just mentioned, that walk-off home run from Garrett Mitchell in the bottom of the ninth to secure the sweep for the Brew Crew. Corbin Burnes, rough couple starts for him so far. 4 1/3 yesterday, giving up 7 hits, 6 earned runs, striking out 3, giving up a couple of dingers. But again, got to tip the cap to the bullpen. That they didn't allow any more damage. No more runs after that. Devin Williams picked up the win because of the walk-off home run there, but got to give the bullpen credit. Bullpen was one of the biggest question marks Brewers had heading into the season outside of Devin Williams, and so far, I'll say not too shabby. Others yesterday, Jesse Winker having himself a day too. His first, a couple RBIs for him as well. It was Weimer with the first home run. I'll tell you right now, I'm gonna get Winker and Weimer mixed up a couple times throughout this year. It's gonna happen. But Weimer, one of the other youngsters, with his first career home run, a 3-run shot. I said it yesterday. I don't know how you can, whenever Luis Urias and Tyrone Taylor are back and healthy or ready to go, I don't want them to send Weimer back down. He's playing too good right now. Keep him up there. Making a sweet catch in center field, too. Did you see that yesterday? Dude showing off the speed and the range out there. Man, a lot to like with it. I know it's only one weekend, but come on now. This is a lot of fun to watch. 5-1 to start the season. Offense looking not too shabby. Youngsters, doobies, getting it done. Bullpen pitching pretty darn well too. I mean, what's not to like so far? Maybe outside of Corbin Burnes' struggles in his first 2 innings. Even MLB.com, early impressions that are turning heads, lists the Brewers offense on there. Everybody knows how terrific the Brewers pitching is. Well, it's like Corbin right now. That's the reason everyone takes Milwaukee as seriously as they do, after all. But while the hitting was a little better in 2022 than most people think, for what it's worth, it still wasn't the team's biggest concern this season, with Christian Yelich no longer looking like an MVP candidate and a bunch of other question marks. Well, one weekend, the Brewers have one of the top offenses in the National League, and the production is coming from some unlikely places, from the suddenly Ruthian Brian Anderson to rookies Joey Weimer, Bryce Terang, and Garrett Mitchell. Wait until Yelich, Rowdy Tellez, Willie Adames, and William Contreras get going. The Brewers are in first place in the NL Central right now, and it's not because of their pitching. I'm going to talk a lot of Brewers. Brewers off day today as they start a big series with the Cardinals in Milwaukee. Cardinals right now, if you're looking at the way too early standings, last place in the Central, 2-4. But how about Brian Anderson too? I know quite a few of you said this was going to be a nice sneaky wild card pick. You liked the signing. kind of an under the radar type of move. A lot of you talked about it when he was first signed on. Well, he's off to a fantastic start. 500 batting average, 7 runs scored, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, all leading the team right now. Bryce Terang's up there too with a couple stolen bases. Garrett Mitchell's tied with Brian Anderson with those 3 dingers. Whew, lot to like. So we'll talk some Brewers coming up here in just a little bit on the leadoff, but we're 1 week in. 1 week in, and I don't like it. First week impressions. Hit me up. Okay, hit us up with a text, tweet, or Facebook, or comment on the video stream. Bucks last night too looked a little shaky there, coming out of the second or coming out of the half and leading into the third quarter. Bucks were down, was it by 10, double digits there, but then on a run got back into it and never really looked back. Picked up the win against the Bulls, 105-92. Giannis did not play in the game, but Bucks did secure the 1 seed. Home court throughout. But now we're kind of looking at where this Bucks team is in terms of injuries. Pat Connaughton didn't play. Grayson Allen didn't play. Chris Middleton started due to a knee injury, and kind of hush hush on it. Mike Budenholzer kind of talking about it was a re-aggravation of his knee soreness. So something maybe to be a little bit concerned about, considering he didn't play the night before, and this knee has been something of an issue even going back to last year and the beginning part of this year. It looked like maybe Chris Middleton had turned a corner here, but I'll tell you right now, I'm a little nervous about Middleton. Thankfully, the Bucks have a lot of depth. I think they can get through, you know, the first series, whoever they'll play in the postseason, second series and such. I think they can be a little cautious with Middleton, a little careful with him. I wouldn't expect him to play in these next 2 games against Memphis on Friday and Toronto on Sunday. I could be completely wrong, but I don't know. Right now, you kind of look at it. Pat, who sprained his ankle in the first quarter of the of Tuesday's game. Budenholzer did say we're hopeful it's a very short-term thing. I would put it in a relatively positive bucket, was his quote. Grayson Allen is out for the rest of the regular season, but Budenholzer remains hopeful the guard will be ready for the first round of the playoffs, which open up on the 15th of April. Now we're all kind of just holding our breaths here, I think, for Middleton. But last night it was the Bobby Portis show, which it has been a few times this year. Bobby Portis, 27 points, 13 rebounds. Brooke Lopez, 26 points for the big man. Drew Holiday, 2 rebounds shy of a triple-double, points, 15 assists, 8 rebounds. Carter also getting in on the action, getting a start, 16 points, 4 of 8 from deep. So Bucks get the win, secure home court, secure that 1 seed. Now they can rest up some of those guys before the playoffs and hopefully get those guys back and ready to go here. But pretty much stuff is starting to come into focus. We know the teams in the Eastern Conference playoffs. It's just right now it's between Brooklyn and Miami to see who's going to be, in the play-in or the regular playoffs, if you will. Brooklyn right now holding on to that final 6 spot, top 6. Miami's 1.5 back, it looks like. Atlanta, Toronto, Chicago, all play-in bursts. So, but Western Conference is still kind of up in the air. We got Denver, who clinched the conference for the Western Conference. Memphis sitting at that 2 spot. Sacramento 3. Phoenix is sitting at 4. But those are the only teams that have clinched playoff spots right now, and nobody has clinched play-in berth spots in the Western Conference. Clippers are holding on to the 5 spot. The Warriors sitting at 6. The Lakers are 1 back from being in that top 6. Also, the Pelicans 1 back from being in that top 6. The Timberwolves look like they're going to be in that play-in berth. They're sitting there on the 9. Oklahoma City Thunder barely holding on to the final play-in spot. Dallas is right there with them with the same exact record. Utah not officially eliminated yet either. They're 1.5 back from a play-in berth. Portland, San Antonio, and Houston, the only teams in the Western Conference to be eliminated. So we'll talk a little Bucks, but how concerned are you, Bucks fans, right now about the status of Chris Middleton or maybe the injuries to some of the other players out there, like a Grayson Allen, like a Pat Connaughton? How concerned are you? We'll hit that up and chat a little bit about that. What else we got on the docket? Well, it is Thursday, so what shout out are you giving on this Thursday morning? You can hit us up. We'll do a little receive or defer. Like I mentioned already, if you haven't made your picks, you can send those babies on over. Kind of see where everything. Who's the first group? What's the first tee time going out there this morning? Is it 7 o'clock this morning? Yeah, 7 o'clock this morning. So we're under an hour from now. Mike Weir and Kevin Na going to be going out there. Then it's VJ Singh and his group there. Anybody's wondering, Tiger Woods is going at 9:13 our time. So we'll kind of keep you posted on everything out there. But yeah, I think the honorary starters are going to be going out pretty soon, I would think. So, but let's get things rolling here this morning. Let's just jump into it. Let's talk some baseball. Brewers, 1 weekend. Hell, I don't think it's gone. I don't think really anybody expected this start from the Brew Crew, especially the offensive output that they've put up these last few games here after getting blanked in the opening day, blanked in the first, 8 innings in game two. Break up this Brewers offense. They're a lot of fun to watch, and it's led by the newbies and the youngsters out there. First week, first week impressions, first early signs as we kind of went through with MLB.com already. And how concerned are you about Corbin Burns for 2 starts in and doesn't really look like the Cy Young Corbin Burns? Are you a little concerned right now, or do you have confidence that Burns will be able to turn it around? Let me know. All right, start hitting me up with some texts on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line, 715-830-1912. We'll take a quick break and get things started off this morning. Lead off. We'll talk a little Brew Crew. Another win, series sweep of the Mets. Let's recap it. It was perfect timing yesterday. I was picking up pulled up and listening to the game there, and Mitchell hit the home run and Roofer with another classic call to open it up. Perfect time picking up the kiddo yesterday. That's where we lead things off this morning, chatting some Brewers as the Brew Crew getting the sweep against the New York Mets yesterday, 7-6, as you heard the call there with Garrett Mitchell getting the walk-off dinger, again led by the youngsters and the newbies in this series. So Brewers now 5-1 on the season. Uh, your thoughts, your reaction, what you've seen from the first week of the season for this Milwaukee Brew team? Let us know. Hit us up with a quick text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. What's not to like so far after what we see? Maybe you're a little concerned about Corbin Burns. If you are concerned about Corbin Burns or your level of concern, let me know. You can we've seen 2 starts from him so far this year. We saw him on opening day. We saw him yesterday. 6 earned runs, given up all the runs that the Mets scored yesterday, given up by Corbin Burns there. So, are you a little concerned from the first couple of games that you've seen from Burnsy, or do you have the confidence in him that he can turn this thing around? Again, the line from him yesterday was 4 1/3, 7 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Gave up a couple of home runs too. But again, the bullpen shutting it down for the Brew Crew, shutting it down and not allowing any more damage and allowing that offense to in the ninth there to get it done. So shout out to the bullpen, kind of maybe an underrated, under the radar type of performance so far this season for the Brewers. But as we kind of mentioned, MLB.com, early impressions that are turning heads so far. They list the Brewers offense on there. They talk about the Brewers offense on there and talk about how, they are in first place in the NL Central right now. And it's not because of their pitching. It's not because of Corbin Burns, going out there. It's not because of, their starters, although Freddie Peralta and, Wade Miley with solid performances and such out there. But MLB.com, high praises for this Brewers offense and leading in a lot of categories. I was looking at some of the statistics out there for the Brew Crew yesterday in terms of their stats and such. And looking at it, when you look at some team numbers in terms of early impressions, 5th in batting average all across Major League Baseball. They're up there in terms of on base percentage and OPS. When you look at let's bring up the OPS. Yeah, 5th in OPS, slugging percentage for the Brewers, top 10 on base percentage. They're number 3 right now. So not a bad start for the Brew Crew. Not a bad start indeed. So, well, what's going on with you?
I've got to come in here and join you. My headphones in the other studio don't work. And I can't hear your golden tones without the headphones working. So we'll have to check on those in a little while. But in the meantime,
breaking stuff again?
No, I just sat down.
Yeah, you broke something.
Well, I'm good at that, but I didn't do this.
Oh, well, how have you been enjoying these Brewers games, man?
I was on the road yesterday, so I was listening to the game, and in the night, I thought I've never heard Euchre get so. I mean, I've heard him, get up, get out of here, gone. But I mean, when Mitchell hit that ball last night or yesterday afternoon, man, I thought he was going to jump. And I was listening. I wasn't watching. I thought he was going to jump right out of the booth.
Yeah, we just played it to open it up here because I was saying I just pulled up to the school to pick up Hudson, and that wasn't on the radio, so it was perfect timing. So, yeah, you can't tell he's a mid-80s type of guy on that.
That's the same thing I thought.
Yeah. He's been especially the back to back the night before.
I didn't hear that, but I bet he was wild on that.
Oh, goodness gracious. You could tell he's having fun with this team so far.
And we were thinking, and I was thinking, which can be dangerous, but for nobody else, for the Brewers to win a world championship while he's still around, what would that mean? What kind of a story? I mean, you talk about all kinds of sidebar stories with Euchre in the booth for how many years, and the stories he tells, because he's unique now as far as baseball announcers are concerned, play-by-play guys for these teams, because all these guys that work for these teams now are very good. I mean, I take nothing away from them, but none of them have the personality of Euchre and the stories he tells and the way he relates the game to the listeners. They just don't have it. I mean, Pat Hughes going in the Hall of Fame, deservedly so, with the Brewers, now with the Cubs, and but he's not Euchre. Nobody's Euchre. I mean, we lost Bob Prince and Vin Scully and Harry Carey, and on we could go.
Jack Buck.
Yeah. And but they're trained professionals now. They're not, they're professional announcers first and baseball guys second. And those other guys were baseball guys that turned into announcers. So it's a different. I mean, nothing wrong with them. I enjoy listening to them, but it's not the same. I mean, nobody else would have got that excited about what happened yesterday.
Well, it's like his partner in crime, Lane Grindle, had said afterwards, after that home run, said, another day when as his partner, you just turn and watch Uke the second the ball is in flight. Just let it go. Let him go, and it's perfect. And I mean, what about these youngsters and newbies, man? I mean, they're off to fantastic starts. Garrett Mitchell, Bryce Terang, Weimer with his first home run yesterday. Brian Anderson, the new guy coming over from the Marlins, is setting some high numbers at the beginning part of this season. I mean, it's all the new guys or the youngsters making the way.
Nobody can be happier about this than Yelich.
Yeah.
Because, boy, does this take a lot of pressure off of him. Because he's not producing, striking out a lot. But these guys, Weimer made a heck of a play in the outfield yesterday as well.
Center field, yeah.
But this takes a lot of pressure off of Yelich.
That's where I know, like, Tyrone Taylor and Luis Urias, they're maybe getting closer to coming back. I don't want Weimer to get sent back down. I want to keep riding with these youngsters. I want this energy that they bring to the table. And Garrett Mitchell kind of talked a little bit about it after the game yesterday. He's like, with the thing with us, the youngsters up here, there's a little bit of a spark because we're also playing to try to stay up here. They've got that motivation where they want to stay at the show. They want to stay at the big leagues. They don't want to go back down. And right now, I don't want to send any of them down just to make room for Tyrone Taylor.
And you know what this is doing? Watching the Bucks, and the Bucks win last night and clinch home court. But with the Bucks and the Brewers, what's not in the news.
Yeah, we haven't talked about Green Bay in a long time. I'll just say that. And I'm okay with that.
So am I.
Yeah. I mean, when we get a little closer to the draft than that, obviously we will. But you know what? With all the drama going on in Green Bay, thank you, Bucks and Brewers, for doing what you're doing so we don't always have to rehash it every single time.
And that's all you're doing is rehashing it too. But it's fun right now. Scouting reports are going to catch up with these rookies. They're going to find a hole. But I'll tell you, ride it as long as you can, and hopefully these guys will have long, fruitful careers in Brewer uniforms, because the first week of the season has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it has. And, I mean, it's hard to just pick like a player of the week, for the first week of the season, because other guys, so many guys have stepped up at so many different points, whether it was Terang with his grand slam, first career home run, and it's a grand slam, and his family's in the stands. Weimer with his first home run, but that play in center field where he made that catch. Brian Anderson has been consistent throughout. I mean, it's been different dudes stepping up. While you mentioned, guys like Yelich and Rowdy Tellez and Willie Adames and Contreras, a little bit of slow starts to the first part of the season.
You worried about Burns?
It's a question we kind of threw out there. Our first two starts, he doesn't look like a Cy Young Burns right now. Do you give him benefit of the doubt, though?
Oh,
after the last couple of years?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it's frustrating, but I'll give him a little bit more time to figure it out.
Yeah, I was disappointed yesterday, 4-1 lead and couldn't hold it. But, and he's getting hit. It's not errors causing these runs. I mean, they're doing it off of him, but I'm not concerned about it. Peralta pitched a nice game. Woodruff is fine, and some of the Miley,
Boy, Miley looked
gave
pretty good. Yeah,
performance that I wasn't sure was going to happen. But
Freddie Peralta looked good.
Yeah.
Yep. How about the bullpen though, man? I mean, they've been locking it down these last few games. Even yesterday, they locked it down after they had to come in and relieve for Corbin Burns, a question mark for a lot of people because there was like an unknown outside Devin Williams. They've been pretty solid so far this week.
This whole team has been pretty solid, and it's fun to watch them run on the base paths and put the ball in play. That's the secret, is putting the ball in play, putting pressure on the defense, and so far so good. I mean, it's only a week into the season, so let's not get too crazy, but 1 week's better than none.
It is. I mean, because we had so many question marks and just a little unknown. And I mean, you look at it, it's like, how many people would have predicted the Brewers sweeping the Mets to begin the season? Probably
I wouldn't have.
None.
Now, when you get Max Scherzer as one of the starting pitchers.
Right, exactly. Or, even the offense with the Mets out there too, to sweep them in the second part. Confidence is rolling right now, especially heading into this Cardinal series. I know the Cardinals are struggling to begin their series or their season. Let's take at least 2 out of 3 against those.
Molina isn't there.
No. And I mean, their offense is still doing things up there. They're still leading in a lot of categories in the first week of the season and such. But they're 2-4 right now. So let's pound down the Redbirds a little bit more in that standings too. Let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, there are going to be a lot of Cardinal fans in the stadium, that's for sure. But that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just glad they can play baseball in conditions where they can play baseball. You get a game in some of these outdoor facilities at this time of the year, especially, it seems like this is one of the nastiest springs we've had in a long time. Hopefully now when we get through Easter weekend, it's going to be in the 70s next week, 60s over Easter. But boy, this first week has been nasty in some places.
Mm-hmm. It has. I mean, the Twins, they had to postpone their opening day, everything over there. Well, I know that.
No comment. No comment. I've made enough over the years.
Open that door a little bit there.
Made enough comments about that stadium. A beautiful stadium. If it was in
July and
Miami
June,
someplace like that, not in the Twin Cities.
Look at some of these numbers here. You got Brian Anderson in 18 at bats, hitting 500 with a 1.621 OPS, a 1.056 slugging percentage, 10 RBIs, 3 home runs. Garrett Mitchell batting 300 with a 1.214 OPS. Bryce Terang 313, 984 OPS. You've got Joey Weimer hitting 353 with a 1.009 OPS. I'll say this though, intern, the one, and I said it a couple days ago, and it still is, to me, is maybe more impressive with these youngsters getting up at the plate. Bryce Terang in 6 games has struck out only twice. Joey Weimer, 5 games, 3 times. Compare that to Willie Adames, who has struck out 6 times. Rowdy Tellez, 7 times. Christian Yelich, 11 times. These youngsters, you kind of wonder, okay, butterflies, first couple series, maybe kind of getting into it. They look like they belong. They look like the moment's not too big. And they're being patient at the plate, and they're being effective. I mean, these are 11 strikeouts for Christian Yelich compared to Bryce Terang, who's only got 2, and Joey Weimer's only got 3.
And their at-bats are comparable.
Yeah.
The number of at-bats are comparable. Maybe keep the batting coach away from these young guys. Because what he's doing with Yelich and Tellez and Adames, that's been the frustrating thing over the years for me, to watch these guys and watch other teams. This team, I've never seen a team so susceptible to the split and the slider. They're down and out. And, they don't step into it either. They take their same swing, whether the ball's on the inside part of the plate or whether it's down and away. That's what's so frustrating. If the ball's down and away, go get it. Put it into right field. Don't try and pull it. If you don't pull it, you strike out. And so these young guys, they haven't developed any bad habits, but these other teams are going to find places to pitch them.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to find their holes. And so it's going to be,
they're going to go through slumps or rough stretches.
They will. There's no question.
Yep. And to me, that'll be the one thing too, is like, how do you react from that? How do you get through that as a youngster? Because right now you're playing with a lot of confidence, and you're probably feeling pretty good right now walking through that clubhouse, but it's going to come at some point. Then how do you react from it? Because I look at, and I don't know if this is the reason, but look at a guy like Keston Hiura, who came on the scene hot, right? Keston was comes on and we want him to stay. We thought he was going to be the next big hitter from Milwaukee. Well, he's in AAA right now, and we don't know if we'll ever see him, at the big league level. So we know those youngsters are going to go through that. How do you get through it, and how do you react from that?
And that's the secret. One of the things about these guys is, especially Terang, he'll take some pitches,
Mm-hmm.
and he gets, and you get a guy on base, and it's easier, at least I always thought it was easier, to bat against a pitcher out of the stretch than it is out of their windup. Because they're in the stretch. They're in the stretch for a reason. There's somebody on base, so they've got to focus a little bit at least on that. Their full attention isn't on home plate, and so and the motion is different. And I always thought it was easier to hit off a guy in the stretch than a guy in his full windup. And if these guys can keep getting on base, whatever, you hit the ball. Inevitably, once in a while, there's going to be an error on that ball, or it's going to slide through. But it's been fun to watch without the shift this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. There have been some hits out there that wouldn't have been hits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's a different year. The games are being played fast, and I'm sitting there watching these games. I don't know if I like it going this fast. Really and truly, because I was watching a game the other day, and I got up and had to do a few chores and do something. I came back, and I think there were 3 or 4 innings gone. I mean, they go pretty fast now.
Yeah, they do.
I don't know if they'll, change that to 45-second clock in the future. I don't know, because there's going to be a difference in the concessions.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question they're not going to be selling as much.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Don't have time.
They've been they're still talking about could it potentially be tinkered with, throughout the season and such. Should mention one note from yesterday after the game. Craig Counsell did announce that Aaron Ashby is going to be out for a significant amount of time. He's undergoing left shoulder surgery. They had hoped to have him back by late May or early June, but he will undergo arthroscopic surgery on Friday. That's expected to sideline him much longer. Remember, Ashby was one of those guys that a lot of expectations or really making a turn this year for the team. But Craig Counsell saying that that puts him out for a significant amount of time. You won't see him until late in the season at best. So that does put more pressure on the guys like Wade Miley, those guys to go out there and give good amount of innings, stay healthy. Wade Miley, I know the last couple of years he's struggled to stay healthy and such too, but puts a little bit more pressure on those guys to pitch their air games, because one of the younger studs or stars that with a lot of expectations, I wouldn't plan to see Aaron Ashby at all this year. So
no, it doesn't sound good. But arthroscopic, I thought that was a little easier than cutting.
Mm-hmm.
But evidently, this is pretty serious stuff.
Fits maybe with the throwing shoulder and such, can be a little bit more of a recovery time on there. But that was the one downer from yesterday. But pitching's been getting it done outside of Burns the first couple starts there. So hopefully it continues.
I just hope Euchre is okay by the time they start playing again tomorrow.
The series against the Cubbies, no home runs. They get back to the friendly confines of AmFam Field, and it's a home run derby.
Oh, it was
over there.
Else.
But he's got to be the one that's probably enjoying it the most right now with these youngsters and these new guys coming in. I mean, it just I feel like, with those younger guys and the new guys like a Brian Anderson and Jesse Winker, obviously I think they've kind of added a little bit of a spark to the clubhouse, added something different that is getting this team rolling, because it's the guys that have been there for the last few years. They ain't the ones doing it.
No, no, it's these young guys. And if I'm Mitchell, one of the things that I've got to have for a memento is Euchre's call yesterday when he hit that first ever walk-off home run in his career. Swinging a drive to right, get out. I mean, he just went crazy.
You want to hear it again?
Yeah, I want to hear it again. I think it was great.
I'll bring it up here for you. So
because it was, he's always good with that. Get up, get out of here, gone. But
and I love it because you can hear the crack of the bat too.
Yeah,
right before to make that call. I know it's like, but it's the little things like that. You can hear that part. And
3-2 out, and it was unbelievable. I almost drove off the road.
All right, here we go. There you go.
It's almost like he's sitting at the counter there, and it's almost like when he hit it, he jumped up, so he's not right on his microphone.
Mhm.
And so, you know, professional broadcaster, hey, you got to have your microphone, Bob. But that's how excited he was,
Mhm.
and it was fun to hear.
Yep, I loved it, and hearing it live too was even the best part. So,
Oh yeah, that was
man,
really something else.
but what a fun last few games here for the Brewers. Off day today, as they get set to welcome the Cardinals starting tomorrow.
Might even
So
have the roof open over the weekend. They're
you never
talking
know, right?
Sunday is going to
Yeah.
be upper 60s, maybe 70, and
Hmm.
so we'll see what they can do. But
Yep.
it was a fun series. I mean, somebody said they're going to shut the Mets out twice, to hit three in a row off of Scherzer and walk off on the third game. Going to take a lot of bets on that.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh man. So, all right. Your thoughts. You can continue to hit us up with a text if you'd like. We're gonna take a quick break here, and then let's talk some hoops. How concerned are you about Chris Middleton leaving the game early, as what Mike Budenholzer is calling it a re-aggravation of his knee soreness? I don't know if that's a proper medical term or not. We might have to ask Dr. Crow on that one. But how concerned are you about that? Bucks did lock down the 1 seed yesterday, even without Giannis, and we can say without Chris Middleton, because he only played 8 games.
I was watching that last night, and I thought, how many people are there for the first time to see Giannis play? You see him in sweat clothes. I mean,
Mhm.
that's the only downside, but you got to keep him healthy.
And you probably won't see him, if hardly at all, in these next 2 games, since
Yeah.
everything's kind of wrapped up here. So, but Bucks got it done. They have home court throughout the playoffs. So we'll talk some Bucks. Plus, if you have not gotten us your Masters picks, first group's gonna be teeing off here in a little bit. You can send those on over. We'll get interns pick coming up here too. I made mine yesterday, but I'll rehash it coming up here too. So might be the only decent day with
That's what
what
I
they're
heard. The weather's
talking.
going to change.
Yeah, they're already saying 100% chance of rain on Saturday. They've been
Ugh.
saying it the last couple days here. It was like 89 for the par 3 contest yesterday, and it's going to drop down in the 50s.
Yeah,
So,
it's springtime,
mhm.
but that course, they've got it. Every time I watch it, they talk about something else that's been engineered into that course, how they can control the moisture on those greens. It's almost like they can open up the floodgates underneath the ground and let all that water soak out rather than sit there in the greens. So when a player thinks, "Oh, it just rained," the greens will be receptive. All of a sudden, they're like rocks again because they can drain all that water off. It's a different course. It's kind of like a Disneyland, beautiful. I've never seen it. That's a
Mhm.
bucket list, but it's green and all the beautiful flowers. But boy, they can control Mother Nature on that course too, unless
Mhm.
obviously it's in the immediate time of the playing.
Yep. The honorary starters are getting their tee off right now. Tom Watson's going up right now. So,
Is it Player and Nicholas too?
yes. Yep.
Okay,
Watson, Nicholson, Gary Player. So,
good.
yeah. All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll finish up the first hour here. We'll talk a little Bucks and get some more Masters predictions after these quick words. All right, Bloomer Tony, I gotta know, man. Bloomer Tony texted in this morning saying, "Morning, Dan and intern. You both need to go see Augusta. It's the greenest grass I have ever seen. My prediction is Will Zalatoris bringing home the green jacket this year." Bloomer Tony, I gotta know, did you golf it or did you walk it or something like that? Because I'm grade A jealous of you right now. I think you and I both said I just want to walk it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was watching the that women's amateur,
Mm-hmm.
and I was thinking, if I can't get tickets to the Masters, maybe I'll get tickets to that, just so I can walk the course and see it. And then, because even during the practice rounds, there are huge crowds there. But during that women's amateur, there were nice crowds, but they weren't unwieldy. Sometimes you can't get around a golf course because there's so many people. Like when you go over to Whistling Straits and PGA, you got to know how to run between the holes and things. But I'm thinking seriously about getting tickets for that women's amateur, going down there and walking that course one day. Now, they only played at Augusta one day this year. They played at another course 2 days in the final round, but that's okay.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of doing that just so I can walk the course.
That's not a bad idea. I like that. Because even the par 3, I was watching that yesterday, and it was just jam-packed with people over there.
Yeah, they're all just jam-packed. So, and then the problem is these people all put their chairs down. They get on. You can't run, I guess. I've never been there, but they say you can't run.
Your chairs, I was reading this actually this morning. Chairs can't have arms.
Nope.
Can't have that on there. Can't have cell phones. They actually have pay phones on the course yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've got those. I was reading a little. I was like watching this video sort of thing on there. It was like, yeah, there's some strict rules on that thing. Like, I don't know. So it'd be hard for me not to take a picture at Augusta, though.
Oh man, I'll tell you, I don't know if they'd have that same rule for the the women's amateur. I don't know, but that's my thought.
Yeah,
I don't have many good thoughts, but I'm thinking that might not be a bad idea.
Yeah. Bloomer Tony saying was down there for a project and drove down to it. Couldn't get in the gate, but could see parts from the road and flying into Augusta Airport. Someday, Plain T and I are going to go as spectators. So,
yeah. Good luck if you can get a ticket, and those tickets aren't cheap.
I think I'm on the waiting list, or I tried one year or something like that, but obviously
I've tried too, but it doesn't work.
Nope. So, but that's definitely number one on the bucket list for me.
Yeah, I want to see Augusta National.
And that's kind of the downer, though, too, this weekend. Like with all that rain, you won't, the sunny flowers, Amen Corner.
And that grass, sort of Tony's right. That grass on TV is just unbelievable. I think, how in the world they do that? Mine doesn't look like that.
Well, I was actually snooping around the Masters website the other day. And I'm like, would I be too old if I'm 37 and apply for an internship down there? But they're hiring for horticulturists too. So that's got to be like, I would think that's got to be like one of the top big leagues for somebody in that position.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We got a lot of kids to go to the technical college and the horticulture program. They're always looking for internships and baseball fields and things like that. But that would be a good one.
Yeah, right. Oof. Also, I think a lot of pressure on you down there too. You better not screw anything up down there.
You better not.
Holy moly! All right, I'll ask you for your pick. Are you going John Rahm? I knew it. I knew you were going to go John Rahm.
I am. I mean, he's playing really good golf. I just if he can, and it's not a problem, but every once in a while, for a couple of holes or 3 holes, he'll get frustrated with himself. And he kind of loses a little bit of his focus. But I've seen him play, and that guy is just remarkable. He was in Hawaii this year at the Tournament of Champions, and he won it. And last year he finished 1 shot behind Cam Smith, and he shot 33 under and lost. And I just think I wouldn't mind seeing Rory win or Justin Thomas, any of those guys, as long as it's not a live golfer. I don't want any of those guys to win it. But I just think John Rahm is there.
Travis from A-Town had texted a little bit earlier. Rory, his top 5: Rory, Xander, Schauffele, Justin Thomas, Shane Lowry, Tony Finau. Hoping Tiger makes the cut. Like to see him in contention for the weekend. Rory has definitely been a popular pick for a lot of our listeners so far this way. So far, G-Man's picking Scotty Scheffler to make his pick too. So I went with JT, Justin Thomas.
Yeah, well, I mean, those are all good players, but is somebody going to come out of the pack that we aren't aware of? But it's pretty hard. That's a lot of pressure on Sunday.
And I think too with the weather, I was actually Googling this. I'm like, I want to know some advanced statistics on who's like a better golfer when there's rainy, windy conditions, sort of thing. And the first thing I Googled was like best golfer in like wet conditions, and there was an article that popped up from 2023. When weather conditions are tough, Tiger Woods is almost dominant, and I'm like, oh, don't get my hopes up for
You'd think
that.
Rory would be playing in Ireland,
Yeah.
with the wind and the rain and the sleet, you get off the oceans and things
Mhm.
like that playing over there. You'd think Rory would have an advantage, or some of the guys from England and Ireland,
Mhm.
but I don't care what statistics they throw up there. Tiger is always going to be involved in it.
Yep. The thing that to me though is I'm concerned about with Tiger. I talked a little bit about it yesterday. Is if there is delay in play, and if there's a day that he's going to have to play more than 18 and walk more than 18 holes in a day. He even mentioned it himself. It's like that's the main thing right now is the walking. He said it again the other day. He's like, I feel like my game's better than what it was last year at this point, and endurance is better, but it's the walking thing that's going to get him. And I feel like if it's going to be more than 18 on one day, that's going to do more harm than good for him.
Yeah, because he's got a good schedule now. He's got morning today,
Mm-hmm.
afternoon tomorrow. Hopefully it'll play out that way, and hopefully he can score well enough to make the cut and be in the hunt. Because let's face it, you know the TV people are just drooling to have Tiger and Rory and Jordan Spieth and Rahm and all those guys in the hunt. They don't want some of these no-name players in the hunt, but
Yep.
and the only thing that would be better is Tiger Woods and Brooks Koepka or something like that.
Tiger and Phil, maybe in the
Yeah.
man.
And it's going to be interesting to see and hear what the reception is for Phil. I know they showed a couple of pictures of him doing some practice round play.
He was at the champions dinner too.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I'm sure he would be. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. There's no reason not to be. I mean, it's, those guys have decided that, the Masters has really nothing to do with the PGA.
Mhm.
They're an entity unto themselves. But if it's going to be a live player and, PGA top star in the final, I think which ones are going to get the most fan attention. And I don't know what kind of reception Phil's going to get, because he's really the one that kind of stirred this pot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't know if you saw Brooks's comment the other day where he said if a Live Tour player does win it, that I think he said, was it all 18 guys are going to be on the green celebrating. All 18 Live Tour players will be at the 18th green, or maybe it was the 18th green, but all the Live players will be on the 18th green celebrating if a Live player does win it. So.
We'll see. The Masters has a way of controlling the activity.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see. I if I had to pick one Live player to do it, Cam Smith. He's pretty darn solid over there.
Yeah, he was the one guy that I was really sorry to see leave for the Live Tour. Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, with their attitude and their interviews, are nice guys, but they're for themselves, not really the growth and the good of the game.
Yeah.
But Cam Smith, I hate to see leave.
Masters did say yesterday too that Greg Norman was not invited. Usually he is, but he's only been there 2 times, they said, in the last 10 years, but they pretty much said, no, we didn't invite him because we don't want the drama. So
I don't blame him.
All right, one in. We'll talk some Bucks coming up next. All right, second hour kicking off on this Thursday morning. Big thanks to all of you tuning in. However, wherever you may be checking us out from, coming up in an hour from now, we're going to catch up with Dave Lemansky. So he is hosting a cornhole tournament for Chippewa River Industries coming up in a couple weeks here. So we're gonna catch up with Dave tossing high for CRI Cornhole Tournament held in Chippewa Falls at Loopy's on April 22nd. Fundraiser. So we're gonna hear a little bit about that. I know a lot of you tossing the bags, tossing a little cornhole, want to show off your skills. So you can learn a little bit more about that. 8:30, we'll catch up with Jake Boakes, our Wisconsin Conservation warden buddy, as the youth turkey hunt's going to be starting next weekend. And then right after that, period A will start for the spring turkey season. We're going to get to some hoops chat here. Bucks clinching the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference, clinching home court throughout the playoffs. How concerned are you, though, about Chris Middleton? Middleton leaving the game early yesterday, or last night, I should say, for what Mike Budenholzer is calling a, quote, re-aggravation of his knee soreness. So how concerned are you about maybe the availability of Chris Middleton for the postseason? Got a little throwback Thursday. We'll do a little Masters edition here. It's actually a good one to kind of rehash, considering what we might see for this year's Masters tournament. But before that, let's do some sports nuggets of the day brought to you by Ansay Associates. 1896. I think you were there, Bob. The first modern Olympic Games began in Athens, Greece, 1896.
Yeah, the crowd was easy to get around.
Yeah,
wasn't a lot of people there.
Let's go 1970. Bobby Orr became the first defenseman to win the NHL scoring title. I thought we just did that yesterday. Maybe not. I don't know. Let's go Sugar Ray Leonard, 1987, took the middleweight title from Marvin Hagler. And Mario Lemieux, 1997, announced that he would retire from the NHL following the playoffs of the current season. So those are just a couple of your sports nuggets of the day brought to you by Ansay Associates. So,
also on this day, Logan Baumgartner, 6'4" senior from Medford, was named high honorable mention to the All-State basketball team for the boys.
There you go. Did you read that in the paper?
Also, Bo Volrath of Fall Creek.
Okay. Where did you read that from?
That's in the list of the
paper
All-State team this year.
Our Throwback Thursday, 1936, the Masters winner on this day, 1936, was Horton Smith. But the reason I bring this up is because their final round was on Monday, 36 holes, because they had a lot of rain. Due to heavy rains, the first round of play was postponed until Friday. Sunday's play was also postponed, and the third and fourth rounds were played on Monday. So we might see something similar to that, depending on how the weather goes. I mean, it does not look good for the next couple days outside of today, but 1936, Horton Smith was your Masters champion, 300 par. Gene I can never say his last name.
Sarazen.
Thank you. Gene Sarazen finished third at 1 under par.
You know, that place is unbelievable. I was watching the par 3 yesterday, and they say they revamped the whole course.
Mm-hmm.
How do they do that?
I know.
In a year and make it look like it's been there forever?
Mm-hmm.
There are everything is growing. There are no patches where they, ground under repair. You don't see that at the Masters. There's no such thing as ground under repair.
No. Yeah, they kept talking about that in the beginning part.
Yeah.
I was watching the beginning part of that too, and it's like, where? What? You can't tell where they did it. I mean, there's like no construction, anything like that out there. Nothing.
No. Absolutely
nothing. It's mind-boggling, and yeah, frustrating too, because I can't even keep creeping Charlie out of my own dang yard, and these people over here, it's probably a sin to have something like that in the fairway.
I just can't imagine how much money that place has to spend.
Yeah,
because you've got to do that kind of reconstruction. You got to have a staff that's unbelievable. You got to have equipment lines that are unbelievable. It's just got to be something else.
Also, if we want to do a little Masters history too, it was 60 years ago, 1963, when Jack won his very first Masters tournament. Kind of going through the leaderboard here to give you. So Jack won it Tony Lima was second, 1 under. Jack won it 2 under par. Sam Snead finished tied for third with even. Gary Player finished tied for fifth at 1 over. Arnold Palmer was tied for ninth at 3 over par for that tournament. But 1963 was Jack Nicklaus's first tournament or first Masters championship.
And I'm thinking about this year's tournament. Now, all the former winners can get in. So for Liv, that's Sergio, Phil, Dustin Johnson, Bubba Watson, Patrick Reed, maybe more. But going forward, these guys aren't going to have any standing as far as the world rankings are concerned. So after this year, is it going to be just former champions from the Liv Tour versus guys that still have world rankings that could qualify them for the Masters? What goes forward as far as Liv players playing in the Masters?
No, I'm not. I don't know that off the top of my head.
No, I don't either. But
interesting. There should be some groups out on the course right now. I just refreshed the leaderboard, but I know Mike Weir was and Kevin Now were teeing off at 7:00. I thought this morning. So, but we'll keep you posted if anything. I don't think any of the feature groups are out there quite yet. So, but we'll keep you posted on some of the scores as they. Coverage begin on the range at 7:30. Okay, in a little bit here. So, let's talk some Bucks. Bucks getting it done last night against the Chicago Bulls. Although, if you were watching the game last night or listening to it on the radio dials here, Chicago got off to, they were leading at half, and they came out in the second or third quarter, got off to a little bit of a run there. Down by 10, I think the Bucks were 10-12. Then Bucks got back into it, made a run themselves, and never really looked back. Thanks to a guy named Bobby Portis and Drew Holiday and Brooke Lopez leading the way last night. So Bucks got everything wrapped up. 2 more games left to go. Giannis didn't play in the game last night. Middleton started, but he only lasted 8 minutes, leaving the game due to what Mike Budenholzer is calling a re-aggravation of knee soreness. So that sounds like a fancy term for he just re-aggravated his knee soreness. I guess that is exactly what it is, but whatever. How concerned are you about Chris Middleton's availability for the postseason?
Very concerned because that knee is a chronic problem. It sounds like whether this will give him enough rest going forward, and are they going to pick and choose when they play him? Will they play him in the first round against a lesser opponent? Or are they going to save him for later on when the opponents get a little bit tougher? I don't know how they're going to do it. And, what we know about his injury, it's obviously something that's ongoing.
Yeah, it's just something. I want to talk to Dr. Crow about this tomorrow if he's going to be available with it, but something's not right with this thing. I mean, I know he had a cleanup on it and such, but it's just something he can't get over the hurdle. And the timing couldn't be any more awful for him too, or for the Bucks at that matter, because I believe he's got an opt-in. He's got a decision whether to opt in or not for the final remaining year of his contract, and it's a big number. It's a really big number, and there was talk that he would opt out of it and maybe, try to get a little bit of a longer term and maybe even a bigger deal. But at this point, if you're dealing with some knee issues, that thinking might be a little bit different at this point in terms of like if Middleton's looking at it for a money purposes, So I don't know, but I'm concerned. I think the Bucks have better depth this year to get through a round 1 and 2, but can they win the championship without Middleton?
How's Grayson Allen doing? He's out too for a while.
Budenholzer said that they're hopeful that he will be ready to go by the first round of the playoffs. Pat Connaughton also sprained an ankle too, so that one's a little bit more positive, it sounds like. But I guess the question is can the Bucks win a championship without Chris Middleton?
I guess we'll wait and see. I hope they don't have to find out. I hope he can play to be.
And hopefully we're just over-exaggerating here a little bit, but it's concerning.
Oh, it is when it happens this late in the season when we're this close to the playoffs. Yeah, it's because I thought he was back in pretty good shape. He didn't start the season, and so he hadn't played a lot. He hasn't overdone the knee, that's for sure, because he hasn't been asked for a big burdensome amount of playing time. But obviously it's something that's a long way from being healed.
Yeah, because it was just
if it ever will be.
just the second he played 32 minutes against the 76ers, April 2nd. Didn't play against the Wizards, and then got to start last night and only lasted 8 minutes in the game. So hopefully it's nothing too serious where he was out for a big chunk of the season, first part, but
hopefully you can keep guys like Bobby Portis. I mean, if this guy isn't the sixth man of the year, it's going to be a sin.
And he's not even he's a lot. He's third best odds, but we were looking at that the other day. He ain't going to win it.
Yeah, that's a shame.
And I know they were talking about it on telecast last night, like that he wants it. He's very adamant. He wants to win that. And
I don't blame him.
I think he needs to get. I mean, the odds were. I think he was like plus 4,000.
Who's ahead of him?
Let me bring it up here. It's the kid from the Knicks, and then Malcolm Brogdon had the second best odds.
Yeah, Malcolm Brogdon has been playing very well for the Celtics, but the Knicks, I mean, the Knicks are nothing. I mean, they're going to be in the playoffs this year.
Emmanuel Quickly.
Don't know him. But Malcolm Brogdon is playing very, very well for the Celtics. No question about it.
Yeah, Quickly this year, 12.5 points per game. Or no, excuse me, that's his career. 14.6 points per game. 4 rebounds and 3.4 assists. I was looking. Here's the Vegas odds right now. If we look at like FanDuel, Emmanuel Quickly's got minus 350. Malcolm Brogdon's plus 250. Bobby Portis has the third best odds, but it's plus 6,500. That's a big gap.
Oh, that's a big gap. Way too big a gap.
It's a huge gap.
Yeah, it is.
So Bobby Portis needs to have a little bit more RESPCT.
Well, again, it's the media market you're in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Boston and New York, major markets. Mm-hmm. Milwaukee, got the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, and you got limited TV access. They're not all over the country like Boston and New York are. Mm-hmm. Tough.
And I feel like let's say Middleton is going to miss some time. I don't want Bobby Portis starting the games though either. I want him coming off the bench and providing that spark. I think 6-man is. It's easy for a lot of people saying, oh, just put Bobby Portis in the lineup. 6-man, having that guy that comes off the bench, depending the situations, can make a world of a difference and change a tide. So I know some people are saying
wired that way.
Right, exactly. Like Ginobili from the Spurs was kind of wired that way, right? They put him in the starting
Hall of Fame.
Yeah, they started him or they put him as a starter and just wasn't the same. And I feel like, because I know some people are saying on social media, we'll just put Bobby Portis in the starting line. I don't know if I want that. I think he provides a lot coming off that bench. And he's started some games this year and he's had success. But when the playoffs are waves of emotions and runs and all that, I might want Portis still coming off the bench at that point.
And I think he feels more comfortable that way too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he'll do what he has to do to have the team win. But I think if he had his druthers, he'd like to come off the bench.
This is where I look at, too, like a guy like Jay Crowder to really step up if Middleton's going to miss some time. You make a move, before the deadline to bring in Crowder, who's got a ton of experience and playoff experience. And he had himself a night the other night when he started. He started off hot. He almost scored 20 points. But this is, once you get to the postseason, I look at a guy like Jay Crowder as like, and if Middleton's missing time, Crowder's got to be that one of those guys that really needs to step it up.
And he has done that in the playoffs before. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I remember a few years ago in Miami, Adebayo, he came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden in the playoffs, he was just gangbusters. He was like a young Bill Russell.
Yeah.
And, so some of those guys do it in the playoffs, and hopefully Crowder will be able to step up. He's got a big body, and in the playoffs,
defensive guy.
They let you play a little bit more,
mm-hmm.
and he might be the answer.
Yep. Yeah, when we get there, we might have to kind of highlight him a little bit. But, yeah, it's definitely concerning, and I don't know if we'll find out an update later today. But how do you play these last two games with Giannis and Drew Holiday and Brook Lopez and that? Do you sit them down completely? Do you play them a few minutes here or there? Knowing we don't know who the opponent is yet for the Bucks because they got to do the play-in tournament. So how do you approach these last two games with nothing to play?
Oh, I play them.
Not the full game? Okay.
No, but you want them to stretch out a little bit, and get a little lathered up and do that. Otherwise,
are you talking basketball yet?
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, you want them to get a sweat on, and, you don't want them to lose, and they're not going to lose their efficiency. But no, I think you want to keep them in the routine.
so you don't get all that rust, right? That's going to be the big question now. Is like, is a team going to be rusty or not? Too much time off, that sort of thing. But
I don't think that's going to be a big problem. But it's only 2 games. I mean, it's it's not like we got 8 or 10 games before we get to the play. It's only 2 games.
And I'll throw this out there. Do you almost have to force Giannis maybe to sit, because we know Giannis, when he's out there, he's going to go full bore?
That's the concern I have with him, because that Euro step, I mean, he can get as long and lean and stretched out as he can be. That's the concern, that he's going to roll an ankle or turn a knee or get a shoulder twisted or something like that.
What was the play earlier this season when he twisted his ankle or something like that, and he was going up for just a useless block, but his reasoning was, or maybe it was his knee, but his reasoning was, he's like, well, I felt like I wasn't playing good defense throughout the whole game, so I wanted to, kind of end on a high. I'm paraphrasing, but that's his mentality. When he's out there, he's gonna go out hard. He's not going to take a night off.
I was going to say, that's one thing you can always say about Giannis. He's giving you your money's worth, because he doesn't, when he's on the floor, he's out there to perform. He's not out there, just to have people be able to take pictures of him. He's out there to play basketball. Some of these other superstars, once in a while, they'll kind of, hang dog it a little bit. But Giannis is a performer, and he'll give you his money's worth.
Were you watching the game on TV at all a little bit last night, the Bucks game?
No, I wasn't. Well, about a minute or two, that's all.
Jeff Van Gundy, man, is just, he's a treat sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
He just, like, you could tell I don't know if he's somebody that I would want to hang out with too much. He seems like he's not so much fun at times. Like, there was a play with Brook Lopez and Drummond, and you could tell Lopez and Drummond were having, kind of fun. They were smiling back and forth, and there was a play like Drummond, I think, fouled Brook Lopez or something, and he hugged him. And Jeff Van Gundy goes on the mic. He's like, I don't know if I'd like my 7-footer hugging the other 7-footer the way he's been playing, or what he just did at the other end, following that guy and all that. I'm like, oh, and he was going after who was it, Vujic, after his interview. He's trying to preach a little patience or calmness, I think. And Jeff Van Gundy's like, 79 games in, we already know what they are. They can't be saying this and all that. He was just like, dude, going at it hard. Like, he was,
his name has come up over the last few years for a coach, but I don't know whether he doesn't want a job. I think he likes what he's doing. He's making good money. He's not under the stress of game planning and personnel management and all the other things that these coaches go through. I think he's content doing what he's doing. I remember we'll never forget him coaching the New York Knicks way back when, and some of the things he did then. But I enjoy him on the telecast, because he's one of those guys that will kind of say it like it is.
Yeah.
He's not a Kasper cream puff type of.
Did you just say Kasper?
Yeah. What is it?
Puff?
What is that term that they use? The cream toast or whatever it is. But whatever
you put
it is.
My name in there.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from, but he'll make.
I can't wait for text now coming through with that one.
Oh, but what is that term? I can't say. But anyway, it's he'll say things that all of a sudden you'll say, yeah, that's what it looks like. But a lot of
I'm sure people are saying that with you right now about me. Like, yeah, that's what it looks like.
Oh,
that's for cream puff.
But that's what he is. He's good. I hope he doesn't leave the booth, because I like him on the microphone.
Yeah,
much more so than the point guard that's with him, Mark, the other guy.
Mark Jackson.
Mark Jackson. Yeah. He knows basketball, but he's
those two will go at it once in a while.
I know they will. Yeah. I know they will. But Van Gundy will make some comments that you kind of chuckle at and enjoy.
Yeah. I was like, dude, I don't know if he was just in a bad mood last night or not, but
he's not a company man. In other words, he'll say what's on his mind. He doesn't always follow the company line.
No, not at all. I think he was doing something with USA Basketball at one point. I'll have to look at it. I thought he was doing something with, maybe it was one of the developmental teams.
He might have
something on there. Yeah, his name gets brought up quite a bit. He where is he at right now? National team. Yeah, in July of 2017, it was announced that Van Gundy would be the head coach of the senior United States men's basketball team at the 2017 FIBA America Cup tournament. Greg Popovich would then resume the coaching team at the World Cup at the 2020 Summer Olympics. Okay, so yeah, that's what it was, 2017, a little bit ago. All right, let's take a quick break here. We got some more picks coming in for the Masters. If you haven't made your picks yet, you can do so. Good Lord, I'm not even going to read all these texts that are just coming in now. Thanks, Bob. I'm not even going to do that. So we'll get back to some more baseball talk here, too. Plus, a little receive or defer coming up in about 15 minutes. Tomorrow morning, we will be doing the program from Hy-Vee for Masters Friday. We got the putting green challenge over there. Big thanks to Carpet City Flooring Center for the custom-built putting green putting challenge. Going to be giving away a new Odyssey putter, new Callaway driver, a bunch of other prizes too from Hy-Vee over there. So 6A, everything starts. Sounds like even the bar might be opened up a little bit earlier tomorrow too. So stop on by. Everybody who tries a putt is going to be entered in to win some prizes. If you make a putt, everybody's going to get 3 putts. But if you make a putt or make a couple putts, you're going to get more tickets into the raffle there. So stop on by anytime from 6A to about 10A. Plus, starting today too, Hy-Vee, they've got a little Masters themed menu going on. I tried it yesterday, taste tested it. Pimento cheese sandwiches for $1.50 if you want to get into the Masters feel over at Hy-Vee. So pretty good yesterday. I tried it.
What do they charge them? They're not much more expensive than that. The Masters, according to what people say, they keep their concessions pretty reasonable.
Concessions reasonable. Swag at Augusta. Nope. I was looking at a hat, $100.
Yeah, no thanks.
Oh man,
I want to see the course. I don't want to invest in it.
Yeah, I do want to know. Lynn Swan, I saw him at the par 3, and they mentioned he was a member there. How do you get a membership? How does Lynn Swan have a membership?
I have no idea.
How do we get on that?
I have no idea.
Got to be a pretty penny, probably, but
it's a pretty penny, and it's not like you can go out and play golf anytime you want. They shut that course down from whatever it is until the Masters. And they had that women's amateur, and you can bet the women's amateur didn't tee off from any place near where the pros are going to be teeing off in the Masters. So the tee isn't going to be all marred up.
Yeah. Speaking of Hy-Vee, a lot of people texted and says that sounds like a new pastry at Hy-Vee that we should get going with your Casper cream puff comment.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. I like cream puffs.
Milk toast. Is that what you were thinking of? That's what a couple people texted.
Casper milk toast. That was it. Thank you.
Why is my name got to be attached to it?
That's what it is.
Not Casper, is it?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Casper milk toast.
As in the ghost, or I've never heard this phrase before.
Haven't you really?
No.
Well, you got to get out of Medford a little more.
Oh, I haven't been there in a while. So. Yeah. Oh, no kidding. It is. Yeah. It's not spelt that. Okay.
What do you think? I was telling you a story?
Yeah. Milk toast is not spelt like how I thought. The man who speaks softly and gets hit with a big stick. Okay. Is that from like Teddy Roosevelt?
I don't
Carry
know.
softly or talk softly, carry a big stick.
Yep, that's what it was. His motto.
All right. Interesting. Looks like the guy from Popeye that eats the burgers all the time. They got a picture of him. Yeah, that guy.
Wimpy, the Wimpy.
All right. Let's what do we got here? Oh yeah, they got the video up if you want to watch the range. We got one golfer, 1 under through 1. He's an amateur. Is it Matthew McLean? So 1 under through 1. So
I'd quit.
Right.
I played the Masters 1 under.
It was interesting because with the par 3 yesterday, they were talking about like nobody who's won the par 3s won the Masters. Yet you got these guys that are going out there and some won't even turn a card in because their kid's already putting, for them after the first round of that. If you were in position, you were golfing at the Masters, would you do the par 3? Or are you superstitious that way?
No, I'd do the par 3.
You do the par 3?
I'd try and win it. I mean, they get unbelievable pieces of crystal.
Yeah.
Those guys that got holes in one, if they get an eagle during the tournament, different things they get crystal for. And, Masters gives out some unbelievable pieces of crystal.
Yeah, it would be hard for me. I'd almost have to feel like, do I really feel like I have a shot to win it? Then my superstition would come in there. If I knew I wasn't making the cut, heck yeah, I'll do the par 3. I'm going to do everything I possibly can over there. Why not?
No, they'll do it. I mean, Spieth and Thomas, they all did it. Max Homa, they were all.
Tiger did it a couple of times.
Yeah, Tiger's done it when his kids were littler.
No, but I'd probably do it. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. The whole experience is worth it.
And like they said, it's more of a family event, anyways. Your kids or your significant other will caddy for you, or your dad.
I was watching Brooks Koepka. I wouldn't mind having her for my caddy.
All right, let's time it out now.
Oh, boy, I'm telling you what, she was pretty easy to look at.
Oh, my God. Here we go.
Well, didn't you see her?
Well,
yeah.
I'm not dead, man. I'm still alive. I can still look.
I don't even have anything to go off. You completely derailed it now. You completely derailed it. That's yep. Oh,
Let's just say she looked good in her coveralls.
jeez. I think you need to stop. You need to calm down over there, man. Calm down. We got some more picks coming in here. We got a Rory pick. We got a Spieth pick. Got a couple Spieth picks coming up
I'm
here
the only
too.
one
So,
on Rom, huh?
yeah, so far.
All right.
Well,
that's good.
You've picked Rahm, I think, for every tournament I've asked you.
Well, I have won once. He won the U.S. Open.
Are you sure you picked him for that one?
I pick him for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
when he wins the Masters, then I'll start picking somebody else.
You know, the one guy that he's not playing because he didn't qualify, but you kind of feel bad about, like, what happened to this guy is Ricky Fowler. One of the youngsters that we thought is maybe kind of rising up, and
he's not a youngster anymore.
No,
that's the problem.
But where's Ricky Fowler gone? Like, he didn't even qualify, and he's kind of been struggling as of late.
Yeah, the last guys. I mean, as of late, it's the last 6-7 years. I mean, he won the Players. I don't know what year it was that he won the Players, but that was his last big claim to fame. Since then, he's been, just a fringe type player. He just hasn't been able to put it together.
Yeah, he was, when he was younger, one of the top names out there. Watch out, next guy.
Never won one.
And never got there. So,
Players is his biggest win. He's finished high in a lot of majors, but he just can't get over the hump. And I don't think now at this stage of his career he's going to.
No. I mean, he's still he's doing the Tiger Rory digital thing. He's a part of that, but
he's got to win a tournament, wherever it is, so he can get back in some of these events. But right now, until he wins a tournament, he's not going to get in the Masters, and I don't know what it takes to qualify for some of the, I don't know if he'll have to go to regional qualifying to try and get in the U.S. Open. I'm not sure what it's going to require for him to get back in the field for a lot of these tournaments.
His 2014 season is going to be a lot of so close. 2014, tied for third at PGA Championship, tied for second at the U.S. Open, tied for second at the Open. That was all 2014. Second place. Man. Just so close.
Yeah, you look back on that career and he's going to say, oh, man, remember that chip I hit over the green into the sand? It cost me, instead of a birdie or par, I got a double bogey. I mean, just it's that much.
Masters, he tied for fifth that year.
Yeah.
Top fives in every single major in 14 and couldn't get one of them. And then it just kind of went down after that a little bit. So.
Because he seemed like a nice kid. I remember when he came in with the orange and the colors he wear and the way he'd wear his cap with the bill straight out, and so nice kid.
Yeah, because he was leading the Aaron Hills U.S. Open after the first round, I rember.
Was he? Okay, I don't remember that. But, I wish he'd win a major. I wish he'd win a big one, but hasn't happened so far, and he's getting well into his 30s now.
Yeah, he's 34, it looks like. So.
Is he? Okay, well, he's still a young man.
Tell you what, let's take a quick break so Bob can take a quick cold shower. Then we'll do a little receiver defer here this morning to finish up the second hour here. So receiver defer, we got one from Surveyor. The rest of you got some suggestions you can send those babies on over to. We'll be back after these few words. Coming up just at about 8:05, so just past the 8 o'clock hour here, we're going to chat a little bit about Chippewa River Industries. They've got a cornhole tournament coming up Saturday, April 22nd at Loopy's. So any of you I say pro in quotes. I know they do that pro now, but anybody that's good at tossing the bags, a little cornhole tournament, want to show off your skills for a good cause, April 22nd at Loopy's. We'll hear a little bit more about that with Dave coming up at about 8:05 this morning. I really dislike you right now, Bob, because now it's all about cream puffs on the texting line. So yeah, that's
Well, we can have a Man Cave Light and a Casper Cream Puff. How does it get any better than that?
man. Yeah.
Oh, we can have a Man Cave Light and a Casper Brat, and then dessert, we can have a Casper Cream Puff.
Well, I'm surprised you're avoiding the one thing that you were on a roll with last week. Dan Goodburger. Yeah.
Dan Goodburger. When I heard that, I still think, God, I don't know. I hope he not mumbling. People are going to get the wrong idea.
No.
Got a Dan Goodburger.
You ready to do a little receive or defer this morning?
Sure.
All right. We'll start off with surveyors. Then we'll see. I'm sure you got a couple here, but he said because he sent this in the 6 o'clock hour. Receive or defer with the way Euchre has been calling this season, the 2023 championship season. Do you believe that this could be his last season? So do you think this is? I guess is what he's asking is, do you think this could be Euchre's last season?
I get the same question. When are you going to retire? But I think he's enjoying what he's doing. I mean, like I tell people, they say, when are you going to retire? I say, well, I like what I'm doing. I like the people that I'm doing it with. I'm not digging ditches every day. I'm not on a roof in the middle of summer fighting the heat and the weather and everything else. I don't think he's going anyplace. I mean, it gives him a reason to get up and do something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's going anywhere. I could be dead wrong. Maybe he will, but I don't see age as a state of mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he's 89 years old right now.
Yeah.
He'll be 90 in January. So
and he's still got his voice.
Mhm.
That's a lot of people get older and the voice kind of gets rattly and different things. But you listen to that call last night or yesterday afternoon. You can't tell he's 89 years old. You don't know whether he's 39 or 89.
I don't think I just have it on here. I don't think he's married anymore.
No, he's divorced.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, he's got kids and
yeah. I don't think he's got his big boat anymore that he used to have on Lake Michigan. And you always talk about going out in the boat, off days and going fishing with the announcers from another team or whatever the case may be. I don't think he does that so much anymore. I'm sure he's got plenty of friends that if he wants to go out in a boat, he can go out in a boat.
So yeah, I mean, I
don't see any inkling of that.
I'll defer that.
Yeah, I will too. Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere.
All right, we'll hand it off to you.
All right, receiver defer. If you rank the 4 major golf tournaments in order, it'd be the Masters number 1, the Open number 2, the U.S. Open number 3, and the PGA number 4.
Yeah, receive. Yep, that's how mine goes.
Yeah.
Yep. I know we talked about what Jack said last week. Was that with you?
No. What did Jack say?
I thought that was with you last
week.
Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was with Luke. Jack and Gary Player both had the Masters 4th.
Well, I was just going to say, unless you're a player, for the fan, I'm talking about for a fan.
Right.
Now, if you're a player, there's much more implications as far as the perks you receive for winning you win the PGA and you got like a 10-year exemption into all the tournaments. The U.S. Open, I don't know if that's a 5 or a 10-year exemption, and the Open itself. The Masters doesn't give you anything. You finish in the top 10.
Might have been Justice I was talking about this with Monday.
You can come back. You can come back next year. You finish in the top 10. That part. But for the fans, I'm talking, and I think for the fan, because of the course, the other courses that they play on, they're green, and they're white sand. The Masters is a spectacular eye. It's just an eye appeal is second to none. You go to the British Open, the Open, whether it's in Scotland or England or Ireland, wherever they play, the old villages, the ocean roaring outside the golf course, and the heather on the golf courses, and it's different, and that's got a lot of eye appeal. but I don't think there's anything that matches the Masters.
It's so this was the quote from both Gary and Jack. Gary Player had said, "I rate the Open at 1, the U.S. Open 2, PGA 3, and Augusta 4." Jack followed up by saying the Masters falls 4th. First of all, he listed U.S. Open as 1, the Open 2, PGA 3, Masters 4th. The Masters falls 4th because it's not meant to be ahead of those others. The Masters tournament is not a championship. You can't rank a tournament ahead of championships. Gary Player also added that the Masters is the youngest of the majors. The others are steeped in tradition and history, and they still have to catch up. Jack also said, too, most people would put the Masters number 1, and that's okay. I put the Masters number 1 as far as to play in and enjoy doing that kind of stuff. But as far as importance of the game and being an American, U.S. Open is number 1.
Yeah, and the importance of those tournaments for their careers. I mean, you win the Masters, and it is what it is. But like I said, the exemptions they get out of it, and even endorsements.
Yeah,
you get more endorsements, I think, out of those other 3 than you would out of the Masters.
I'd like to know. I'm sure Tiger was asked this at one point too. What his response was. I don't know it off the top of my head. I'd have to Google it.
I don't know what he'd say, because every time you listen to him talk, like even this week, he said some of the greatest moments of my golfing life happened here.
Yeah.
And if we rates the tournament, I had a chance to hug my dad. Then I had a chance to hug Charlie. It's kind of a generational thing. I don't know if he would rank it, the tournaments, based on that or on their importance to golf. I mean, the Masters is, the whole world's turned those 4 weeks. The world turned, not so much from a viewing point of view, the PGA, but for the players and the industry, the PGA is that much more important. But it's an interesting question. And I think, as I said, from the fans' point of view and the players' point of view, you're looking at it 2 different ways.
I kind of made a joke the other day to somebody, but this is probably the most amount of time that I get to talk about golf is when it's Masters week, because everybody talks about the Masters.
Yeah, you're right.
And watches the Masters, it
you're
seems
right.
like.
You're right.
So, did you have another one on there?
Not right now, but who knows by the time we get done. Do you prefer cream puffs or chocolate donut Long Johns?
I don't know if these are actually what they're called, but since you brought up donuts, like I don't know if I haven't really seen these. When I was a kid, though, in Medford, we called them honeymooners. Do you know what those are?
Yep.
Okay. Is that the proper term for them?
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's because I know there's a bakery in Loyal that, makes them. They're, custard filled.
They got like the whipped cream in the middle with the cherry on the top.
Yeah, and chocolate frosting.
I said that to somebody the other day, and they're like, "What the heck is that?"
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
they got to get out more.
Okay, so maybe I didn't know if that was a me thing or a Medford thing or whatever, but yeah,
because it's different than like you go to one of the bakeries and get a cream filled donut. Honeymooner is different.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not off my rocker on that one. Okay.
No.
That was the only one that I would actually ever get. So, okay, let's receive or defer. Now I'm going to ask it from the Brewers side of things, not from a fan. Receive or defer. They will send down Joey Weimer in the next couple weeks when either Luis Urias or Tyrone Taylor get healthy.
I'm going to receive that. I don't know if you have to, I guess, because, he's got options. Send these other guys down and you might destroy their year. They might get their dauber down, so to speak. And, it's going to be hard if they can continue, if Weimer can continue to provide such positive momentum, both offensively and defensively. But I think because he's a young kid, has options, and I don't know what this means for, their contracts. Remember a few years ago when the Cubs did this and gotten a lot of controversy for shipping down what's his name that ended up being an MVP a couple of years later, Chris Bryant.
Yeah.
And, I don't know whether that will have some effect on it, but I think looking from the Brewers' point of view, yes.
Yeah, I received that too. I think from the Brewers' point of view, they will. As a fan, I would like to roll with what they've got right now because, I mean, come on. And
if it ain't fixed, if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of thing.
Right, exactly. And that's the thing, though, too. It's like you look at last year, the effect that the Josh Hader thing had on the clubhouse. Could this be another situation where it could have an effect on the clubhouse? Now, I'm not saying they don't like Luis Urias or Tyrone Taylor. Willie Adames and Luis Urias are really close. But
And Urias does give him a lot. I mean, he really is a productive player.
But if, say, like Joey Reamer is still batting like 300, few dingers, making plays in the outfield, do you factor what kind of move like that would, or do you think the players will understand it because it's the business side of baseball?
The other thing you have to look at is, does somebody have a little injury? Somebody got a sprained ankle or a sore
that mystery
back. All of a sudden you go on a 30-day DL. That opens up a spot too. So they will have options to look at it as the season goes along. That can happen. So I don't think we can ever say ever never, but if Weimer is still playing and these guys are due to come back, if somebody else, has a sore wrist or a sore knee, they might say, well, here, 15-day DL or 30-day DL for this guy. And that way he can stay on the roster. So I think if it's, apples and oranges and they have to make that decision, I think they will send him down. But I think they'll find some kind of a way out, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. This was earlier in the week for the home opener on Monday, but Mark Anasio was asked about Craig Counsell, and because Craig Counsell with a new contract, we haven't heard anything, and Mark Anasio was kind of coy a little bit in his comments, but he pretty much, he said that they would love to have Craig Counsell back, or like for the long term and that, but he mentioned, well, Craig's got a couple more kids in college, playing college baseball, and kind of alluding to the fact that Craig has a decision to make whether he wants to continue managing, or is he going to maybe spend some more family time and watch his kids play college baseball. So it really wasn't, it's like, ooh, people kind of took it like maybe this is Craig Counsell's final year. Receiver defer. Do you think this is Craig Counsell's final year?
Boy, I don't know. I didn't realize he had kids in college, this, that, and the other thing, but I'm going to say no, because I don't think he feels in any way, shape, or form he's got the job done yet. He's got him into the playoffs consistently, missed by a game last year. I don't think, if it's his decision, I think he'll come back.
Yeah, you read it. I'm trying to bring the exact quote up here, and I had it, and it just froze up here. But here's one of the quotes. He said, this is from Mark. He said the only thing he felt he had left to do in baseball is bring a World Series to Milwaukee, and that's still a goal of his. We'll see how he balances all of that. Anasio saying that they'd love to keep him, but Counsell has a family and sons to watch play baseball in college. So it sounds like it's Craig Counsell's decision and not the Brewers.
Yeah, and I think if it is his decision, I don't know. It would be tough. I don't, because you want to watch your kids, but your kids, how many years of college you're going to play, 2 or 3 or whatever the case may be, and then what are you going to do? He could always catch on with another team. I don't know if it'll be as a manager, but as a hitting coach or a base coach or something like that. But I think when you sat in the big chair for as long as he has, I don't think he wants anything other than the big chair. And I don't blame him.
I know. I'm curious how many kids, because remember, it was a couple years ago. He was actually at Carson Park watching. I think his kid was playing for Wilmer Stingers when they're playing the Express. It was during the All-Star break, and he was up here watching a couple of them. So I don't know if that's still the same one, or maybe he's got a couple other ones playing in college. So, but yeah, it sure seems like it's maybe up to Craig Counsell to decide. All right, 2 in. We got one more to go. We're going to talk a little cornhole tournament coming up in just a couple minutes. Third hour kicking off on this Thursday morning. Don't forget it is a Thirsty Thursday, so if you want to do any shout-outs to anybody or anything out there, you can hit us up with a quick text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we'll catch up with our DNR warden friend, Mr. Jake Bolks, answering your questions. We know we got the spring turkey hunting season starting. Well, the youth start next weekend, then right after that will be period A, or first season, for those of you who have a tag for the first week. So if you got any questions with that, send them on over so we can pass them along to Mr. Jake. But we are going to be talking about cornhole tournaments, and our good friend Dave. I haven't seen you. What, maybe was it 2017? 19 for the Packers tailgate tour.
Correct.
All right.
That's correct.
So the Chippewa River Industries over there. We were talking a little bit about it off the air. That was a lot of fun. There was a lot of people there. It was a really great event. We had snow, but it turned out fantastic.
Yeah, we had a foot of snow the day before, but it turned out really well. So thanks for allowing me to be here today.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad you reached out, because this is a cool event that you guys are doing coming up on April 22nd, Saturday, April 22nd at Loopy's. The Tossing High for CRI. Did you come up with that title? Because that really comes off the tongue there.
Well,
too,
I don't want to steal any thunder, but no, it was a committee decision. But yes, we're having a Tossing High for CRI. It's our first annual cornhole fundraising event for Chippewa River Industries, and CRI has been around for over 50 years in the Chippewa Falls area, the Chippewa Valley. And we exist to support people with disabilities or other barriers to help them live, work, and recreate as independently as possible.
Absolutely. So this is as you mentioned, the first time. And the one thing I like on here too, because I'm reading a little bit off your page here, you also have 30 plus raffle items and baskets for you to shop if you don't play cornhole. So you can go support it, but yet do a little shopping and raffle.
Yes, we've got we've got wonderful sponsors for this event, and we can't thank them enough. And it's starting with Tom Vandehay from Midstate Trucks. Him and his team have been very helpful for us in coordinating this. But yes, we've got wonderful raffles. We've got great prizes. You don't need to play cornhole to come to this event, which is the message we want to get out to folks. Of course, we want as many teams as possible. It's going to be great. Winning teams are going to win cash prizes. We've got some wonderful cash prizes for raffles for people not playing. We have wonderful baskets and so forth. So come on out, whether or not you're going to play or not.
Plus, it's great food. It's Loopy's, right?
That's right.
Got good food
at Loopy's, and Loopy's is a great partner with this event as well. Absolutely. It'll be in Loopy's Dome, so it's going to be rain or shine.
Because you never know in Wisconsin. It looks like it's trending upward, but you never know.
That's correct.
But controlled environment there. So that's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be really cool. And $50 per team to if you want to get a team in.
That's correct. $50 per team. We're going to have 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock in the morning registration on the 22nd. And then the bags start flying at 11 o'clock. And it'll probably go until about 5 o'clock or so when we announce raffle winners and the cornhole tournament winners.
Awesome. So this is a cool event too, because I feel like cornhole, I call it still bags. I don't know why.
Yes,
everybody's, bags, cornhole.
They're synonymous.
But it's something that's really spiked up, I would say, in the last, 10 years or so in popularity?
I think so, Dan. And we kicked that around. When Tom Vandehay first approached me last fall, we talked about that. And, certainly a golf tournament comes to mind right away.
Yeah.
But there's so many golf tournaments.
Right.
And we thought, maybe we can have a bags or a cornhole tournament. It is becoming more popular. And we picked this time of year because it's, it's kind of a transitional time of year. So we're hoping people have free time to spend and come on out and join us.
Yeah, exactly. And, now I've seen people that it's like pro leagues. They go around the country and playing this. I'm like, gosh darn it, why can't you do that? Or why couldn't they do that when I was younger when you're actually doing that? But there's people that are really good at this thing.
Yes, absolutely. And so we have two divisions, which is really important to understand. We have a competitive division and a non-competitive division. So if you want to have a team, don't worry about people who are really good.
Yeah.
Because we will make sure that you're in a division where you have a chance to win if you want. But again, it's all for fun. Although there are opportunities to win cash prizes, we hope people just come out and have fun, because we're going to guarantee fun.
Absolutely. April 22nd, Saturday. Again, you can check out Chippewa River Industries Facebook page. You guys got info up there as well. And I know you kind of talked a little bit about Chippewa River Industries, But kind of, if there is there something that you would like to kind of maybe spread the word or tell people about your organization that maybe we don't know about Chippewa River Industries?
Sure. Well, CRI, we've been around for over 50 years, like I said, but our headquarters are in Chippewa Falls. We support just over 400 people a year, and we have offices from Rice Lake down to La Crosse, with, again, our headquarters in Chippewa Falls. But really, our mission is pretty straightforward. It is to help people live and work as independently as possible. People with different abilities, people with different barriers to employment and independent living. It's a great organization. We encourage anyone to come over for a tour, and certainly visit our website at crind.org.
Do you take volunteers with that? Or?
We do have some volunteer opportunities. Of course, we're always looking for paid employees,
right?
And we've got we do a lot of job coaching where we help place people into different community types of employment, and then our our long-term services include a job coach, and we're always looking for job coaches to work with our folks in the community to help learn their jobs as independent as they can.
Nice. Just going back to the tournament here too. You mentioned when you can register. Can you also register on your website as well?
So we'd prefer people to go to our website, again, www.crind.org. And we have a button. It's a red button at the landing page. Hit that button. It'll take you right to the event page, and then you can register right there.
And it says all skills levels, as you mentioned, non-competitive, competitive, mixed. I mean, if it's a wife and husband, they can get on there too.
Absolutely. Bring your kids, whatever, however you want to do it, as long as
Don't
they can
bring the kids. They're the ringers, man. They are the youngers. They might get the most competitive ones in there too. So, but this is a fun event. I'm going to check it out. Coming over and check everything out. And it's April 22nd. What time of the day again? 11 o'clock. It starts.
It starts at 11 o'clock. Yes, and I also wanted to plug the radio station. And thank you guys. The radio station has done a nice job with ads for us. Through John Murphy and your show, of course. So thank you, Dan.
Yeah, no, thank you. Again, proceeds from this tournament will fund two smart boards to complement training opportunities.
That's correct. So yep, to augment our training opportunities for the people with disabilities that we serve. Yes. So we're looking for 2 smart boards, and then also to fund our endowment fund that goes directly to our mission.
It's a great organization. I got to know a little bit more about it when we helped out with the tailgate tour, Packers tailgate tour. A few years ago, again, 2019, doesn't seem like it's been 40 years already for that thing. It's just a wonderful organization. So I know you guys are going to have a lot of success. This is a great idea, and let's make this like an annual tradition too.
We're hoping it to be.
Yes. Yeah, this is a lot of fun. So again, if you want more information, you can head out to their Facebook page, go to their website. Can they give you guys a call too if any questions?
Absolutely. 715-726-7822. Just give us a call and we'll help you out.
We got a couple texts already coming in saying sign us up. So I'll send them the link. How about that? I'll text the link over there, and we'll get more teams over there too.
That sounds great. Thank you, Dan.
You got it, Dave. It was great catching up with you, and thanks for stopping in.
You as well. Thank you.
You got it. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll get intern Bob back in here too, see what other stuff you can make fun of me here and talk some more baseball here. So quick break, and we'll be back after these few words. Big thanks again to Dave Lemansky, Chippewa River Industries, for stopping by. If you want some more info, I'll text the link over to you. I texted it to a couple people over here to sign up for their 2-person cornhole team going on at Loopy's April 22nd, Saturday, April 22nd. So let's see what kind of skills you got. Or if you just want to do it for fun, for a great cause, do that too. You got a competitive and a non-competitive division over there. So April 22nd. Let's fill up Loopy's Dome over there for a fantastic cause. And like he said too, you don't have to, if you're not a cornhole bags player, they got a lot of raffle prizes and some other stuff that you can buy some tickets and try to win. So great cause over there. Chippewa River Industries does a lot of awesome work there. Coming up in about 10 minutes, we'll catch up with Mr. Jake Boakes, our Wisconsin Conservation Warden buddy. Probably going to talk some spring turkey hunting with the youth. Spring turkey hunting season starting next week. Got a couple questions surrounding that, but this is your last call. If you want any questions for me to ask Jake for you, text it on over 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line. Brewers have the off day today as they get set to welcome the St. Louis Cardinals to Milwaukee Brewers. Winners of 5 in a row, 5-1 so far on the season, led by their offense. Who would have thought that? Who would have thought that maybe they would actually sweep the New York Mets in the early part of the season? But here we are, led by the rookies and the newbies. We're 1 week into the season. A lot to like about this team so far. At least it's been fun. We know at some point they're probably going to go through a little bit of a rough stretch. Some of these guys, they're going to be in a little bit of a slump. Garrett Mitchell's going to come down to earth. Joey Weimer's probably going to come down to earth. Brian Anderson, for sure, is probably going to come down to earth here a little bit. We know it's going to happen. But first week of the season, from what you've seen so far, besides obviously opening day, it's been pretty fun, hasn't it? It's been a lot of fun watching this ball club. And hopefully they can do that. And hopefully they can do that against the Cardinals starting on Friday. We'll preview that series more in depth tomorrow when we're over there at Hy-Vee. But Brandon Woodruff's going to get the start first. Eric Lauer will get the start on Saturday. Then Freddie Peralta will be getting the start on Easter Sunday. And then after that, the Brewers heading out west really quick for some late games, starting on Monday, going up against the Diamondbacks for 3 games. And they got the Padres. That should be a fun series over there. 4-game set against the Padres. So a little West Coast trip. And yeah, oh man, continuing there too with the Mariners. So Brewers going to be on the road there quite a bit. That's going to be an interesting stretch of games. When you got Diamondbacks, who should take care of business, then the Padres and the Mariners after that. And then they return home to face the Boston Red Sox. All right. Interesting. All right. Kind of doing a bunch of smorgasbord. I was trying to think of the word there. Smorgasbord of stuff here. So we got that baseball talk there. Basketball. How concerned are you? The question that we've been kind of asking out there is, how concerned are you with Chris Middleton's knee injury? And do you think the Bucks can win the title without Chris Middleton? Earlier on, we had a texter say that definitely concerned about Middleton, but now rest him for about a week and a half with the play-in tournament. Probably rest work back in first round, second round. So that is about 3 to 4 weeks. I do think they can win without Middleton, but Middleton makes it a whole lot easier. Yeah, again, Mike Budenholzer called it a, quote, re-aggravation of knee soreness. Now, April 2nd, in their game against the 76ers, Middleton played 32 minutes. Then he didn't play in their game against Washington. Got the start last night, but only lasted 8 minutes. Hopefully it's just the Bucks being a little bit more cautious, very cautious, knowing it's Middleton, knowing it's a knee injury or a knee issue, might be the best way to phrase it. So hopefully they're just being extremely cautious with the whole thing and that it's nothing that'll sideline him too long. But I agree. I don't think you're going to see Middleton play in these final 2 games. I don't think you're going to see him on the court. Question is now is with nothing left to play in the regular season. You've got Memphis on Friday, then you're on the road in Toronto on Sunday. How much do you play guys like Giannis, Brooke Lopez, Drew Holiday, throw in Bobby Portis in there? Do you get them in a little bit of work, or do you just completely shut them down so they get extra rest? Would you like them to get a little bit of work in to maybe not be so rusty once they come into the season? Your thoughts. Let us know. We got Big Worm texting in. Good morning, Mr. Kasper, for all the kids listening out there. Euchre isn't going to last forever. Instead of watching the game on the tube, give him a listen on the radio. What a phenomenal call yesterday. Can you play it again? Bucks lock up the number 1 seed, and I'll take JT or Spieth to win the Masters. Love the show, pal. Well, thanks to Big Worm. I will bring up Euchre's call again here.
Receiver to fur. Euchre will leave the Brewers before Council.
Ooh. No, that's a tough one.
Or Council will leave the Brewers before Euchre.
That's a tough one.
I don't know if Council has ever been asked that question, but he doesn't give many answers to the media anyway. It's pretty much straight boilerplate baseball stuff all the time that he says. So, I don't know if anybody ever sat down with him over a beer and say, how important is it for you to be able to watch your kids on a full-time basis versus what you're doing? So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to this question. I don't know.
That's a good one. I mean, before the comments we went through, I would have said, "Oh, it's easy. Council would outlast him." But now I don't know.
That's what I mean. I'd never heard some of those things before, and I don't know, and I still haven't heard any answers from him as to what his feelings might be or which way he's leaning.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, it's only natural. You want to watch your own kids play when they're growing up.
Yeah.
But I don't know how driven he is to watch his kids versus bringing a World Series to Milwaukee, like he said he wants to do.
And the other thing of this is that it's easy for us to say, well, you can watch him this way, but he had a long playing career, so he's probably thinking he missed out on a lot of that stuff when they were younger.
That's
growing
true.
up, maybe little league games or something like that, right? I mean, he and baseball, you're traveling all the time. We were just going through it. They've got a West Coast trip coming up after this Cardinals one where they're going to be going up against the Diamondbacks, the Mariners, and the Padres. They're gone for a while,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, half your games are in Milwaukee or wherever it is, but still, you're doing a lot of other stuff there too. And I think that's the other factor is that he did have a long playing career. He just didn't play for a couple of years. He played for a while.
Well, he's got at least one ring.
He's got two.
He got 2 rings. Yeah.
So, Mariners and Diamondbacks. So, hey, you're a dad. I'm a younger dad, and I totally get it. If that's something he wants to make sure to do, he wants to watch his kids.
Yeah, you can't blame either one of them for leaving Euchre because he's Euchre. He's done what he's done for so long. But I don't think he wants to quit.
I don't either.
I really don't think Euchre wants to quit. He doesn't have to go on the road anymore. You give concessions to guys like that because he is so much a part of your franchise.
You hit it on the head there. He's a guy that if he said, can I do it this way? Can I do? Yeah, whatever you want, man. Yeah. Whatever you want to do, yeah. we'll do it. He's earned it. And the thing is, he's still calling it at a high level. Maybe it's a little bit different if you could see something different or whatever. You can see a little bit. I can't notice it.
And he appeals to every demographic.
Mm-hmm.
He goes back to guys that were around. I remember I don't remember him really as a player. I remember him playing, and I remember his name when he was with the Braves and went to Cardinals, won a World Series with the Cardinals. But Milwaukee is his home. That's where he grew up. And so all the guys that, when he talks about, Stan Musial and Willie Mays, everybody can relate to him, but some can relate better because you remember the stories. You remember seeing the game he might have been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And the younger crowd now, the way he can really blend the stories into the modern day. And he's so good at that. So he really, he just crosses over so many time periods
mm-hmm.
that, he's really unique.
And I think what helps too is it is baseball. It's not, a lot of the stuff is still the same. Like the how you play the game, right?
Yep.
Whereas you can make that guy hasn't played football in how many years and it's changed that much, or NBA or anything like that. It works for baseball because the core of it is still there. Yeah, there's different big time rule changes this year with pitch clock and banning of the shift, but the core is still there. And I think
they don't change the rule. Like in football, they've changed the rules so much. I mean, the kickoff rules and the offensive rules make the offense more a part of the game and makes it tougher on the defenses. Baseball hasn't really changed that much. The time clock and
I don't think they have a rules analyst in baseball, do they?
I don't have any idea. Probably not. I don't
Football,
know.
You need one.
Yeah, you really do.
Basketball, I'm waiting for one to say why it's not traveling or not, but
yeah,
probably because there is traveling on every play. But yeah, I digress. But no, I'm not trying to cop out. I'm 50-50 on that question.
That's where I am too, because
that's a tough one.
Until I don't think Euchre wants to go anyplace. I mean, I'm sure somebody picks him up at his house, drives him to the stadium, right to the door. He walks to the press box. He takes the elevator up. I mean, it's not like he's got to battle traffic in and out and all that sort of stuff. He's got a good life. He means so much to so many in not only Milwaukee baseball, but all over the country. I mean, Bob Costas will tell you that Euchre is one of the most unique interviews he's ever done. Because he said, I don't know if I was doing the interview at times or he was doing the interviewing at times. And those are the kind of guys you want to interact with, the kind of people you want to interact with that've got some life and show some life. And Counsell, I don't know. You watch him in the dugout on TV. I don't know if he's enjoying his job or not. I know he is. But, I mean, he's pretty stone-faced and he doesn't smile a whole lot. I watched him yesterday and because I just caught it and I ran into the house after the walk-off and turned it on to watch the after the game post-game show, and he came out and slapped Mitchell on the shoulder, the butt or whatever it was, with a little smile. Then he turned around and he's got the same stone-faced look that he always has.
Yeah, so we'll honor you, Big Worm, with this request. Tell me if this sounds like an 89-year-old man who's ready to hang him up. That does not sound like an 89-year-old man.
Yeah, that's not an 89-year-old man. He has enthusiasm, and he has it. It's not artificial. He has real enthusiasm for the game. And I think every time the Brewers get some of these newer, younger guys in, it renews his enthusiasm for the game as well.
I agree. So, you know what? I think my Thirsty Thursday shout out, I'll go to Euchre.
Oh, it has to. Yeah,
so,
it has to.
All right. It's time for a little outdoor tidbits with our good friend, Mr. Jack Boakes. All right, Jake, good morning, buddy. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. How are you guys?
Not bad, man. The weather at least looks like it's going to get warmer here a little bit, so I'm getting anxious with turkey season coming up.
Yeah, it looks like a whole nother world next week.
I know. So I'm hoping that we'll get some melting going on there. But, hey, we got the youth are the ones that get the first crack at turkey hunting next weekend, Jake. And we had a couple people kind of asking questions regarding the youth hunt. So one question was, if a parent's going with their youngster, Jake, does that parent also need a tag to go with them, or do they not?
Well, it depends on what kind of license they have, whether they have a mentored hunt or if they have hunter safety and they have a regular tag. So, if they have a mentored tag, they're going to have some sort of hunting license as well. Otherwise, if they're just going with and the youth has their own hunter safety and everything like that, then they don't need to.
Okay. And I'm glad you mentioned mentor too, because somebody had asked this a couple days ago and I just thought of this to ask you, but somebody said if somebody's interested in being like a mentor, can they be a mentor to anybody out there for hunting?
Yeah, you can be a mentor to anyone. You just have to be 18, and the person you're mentoring has to have, like the youth has to have. Well, I guess it doesn't even have to be youth. It just has to be someone that has a mentored hunting license. So someone that needs to have hunter safety or is required but doesn't. That's what a mentored tag is. Anyone can do it as long as they're 18. They just have to have some sort of hunting license for the state of Wisconsin. It doesn't have to be turkey. A lot of people do in the deer season. It doesn't have to be deer. You just have to have some sort of hunting license. Thing for the spring youth hunt is whether it's a mentored hunt or regular hunt, it's 16 and under. That's the only ones that get a hunt for that first weekend.
I just thought of this question because I was thinking about it when I was driving, or I saw this when I was driving in this morning. And it was dark, but I could tell. River's pretty high, Jake. Chippewa
Super
River's,
high.
yeah, it's really high. I glanced over. I'm like, holy crap! I could tell it from the dark there. So I just thought this because I mean it's going to happen. We hope it doesn't, but some people are probably going to take their boats out on the river and try to do some fishing over there. But if hopefully not, but if somebody gets into any issues, what's the first thing? Do they call 911? Do they call the DNR? What would you tell them to do?
Well, if it's an emergency like life or death potentially, definitely call 911 because they're going to get everyone going, not just the DNR, but fire department and any rescue, the sheriff's department, or just the closest law enforcement officer in general. So if you get out on the river and you're floating down uncontrolled, your motor dies, or you get into a spot where you're stranded and you don't want to go upstream or downstream, just call 911 and they'll get you help. Now, if you're out there and you see a violation or you have questions or you're more or less curious if you should do or something or you shouldn't, or if it's safe or not, and it's not an emergency, then you can, call the tip line, call me or your local warden and stuff like that. The main thing is to watch the conditions. Like you said, if you drive over the I-94 bridge today and you know anything about the Chippewa, you're going to see that it is flowing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same for the Mississippi. All this rain and water, comes from the north, comes from these other streams, dumps into the Chippewas, the Eau Claires, the Red Cedars, and those all dump in the Mississippi. So I know a lot of guys around here, guys and gals, go fishing on the Mississippi, and that water is going up quick and it's turbulent and dangerous. So just be careful wherever you go fishing.
Yeah, definitely. I was driving in like 3-something this morning, and I was like, holy moly, that thing is high.
I was just talking to my wife before this, and she was driving over the river and said the exact same thing. She said, holy cow.
Mm-hmm. Did you have one, Bob, or you?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't want to talk about take it away from the hunt or what you're doing, but Jake, I was on a farm, yesterday down in the hills in Pepin County between Durand and Mondovi, and we were talking, they were making sap, and we were talking about different things, and he said, yeah, we'll get done here and we'll go take a few coyotes out. I said, well, how tough is that? He said, not very tough. He said, they're all over the place. He said, you don't have to hunt very hard to find coyotes in this part of the country. What is the status of the coyote? Obviously, they're alive and well in Wisconsin. Yep. Is there any way that you can ever get a handle on the numbers of coyotes in Wisconsin? Because they are all over.
Yeah. That's unfortunately, you have some really good questions, Bob. They usually relate back to wildlife. So I'm not the expert. But what I do know is I don't think they spend a ton of time on population metrics and stuff with coyotes because they are such a prevalent species, and they're very, I don't want to call them scavengers. I mean, they're partly scavengers, but they do so well in any sort of environment, whether that's in an urban environment, a rural environment, hot, cold, whatever. They're kind of just everywhere. And because of that, I don't think that anyone's really worried about their population. So I don't know if there's a huge estimate. What I do know is they have a year-round 24-hour season where you can harvest without any sort of bag limit or possession limit. So like those guys are saying, you don't have to go far to find them, and you can hunt as many as you want any time of the day, any time of the year. And if you're a landowner and you're hunting on your land, you don't even have to have a license. There's an exemption for a landowner and hunting coyotes on their own land. There's a lot of them, like you said.
Yeah. Is coyote the only one for Wisconsin where it's a year-round open season?
No, there's a few different animals.
Wild pig, I know.
Well, yeah, if if there's any feral pigs, stuff like that. But there's a category of species that's called an unprotected species. They don't have really any bag limits or season restrictions or different things like that. There's a few of them, so I'm not going to list them all, but it's definitely, if you go in our small game regulations, or basically now it's our total, combined regulations, and you look up the small game area, you're going to find those unprotected species, and that's going to lay it out pretty well for you. So there are, there's those high points, spring turkey hunting, deer hunting, archery hunting, whatever, fishing. There's those high, everyone knows about them. But if it's a off season and you want to get out and do something, there usually is something you can hunt or fish or trap or spear or something. So if you look into the rigs, you can find some other activities.
Interesting. So, all right, Jake, I know we got, spring turkey again for the youth. It starts next weekend. Do you have any, I guess, last second tips or suggestions for anybody heading out there?
So just a reminder for those spring turkey, those youth hunters. So the way those licenses work is that for those 2 days, no matter what season, A, B, C, D, E, F, no matter what season the youth has, they can use it that weekend. But once that weekend is over, they have to wait till their time period on that tag. So if your youth doesn't have a season till like the 5th season, you get this weekend, but then you got to wait 5 weeks. You can't start the first week or second week. And then with that being said, most people know this, but just make sure to read your license, read the dates on it. It's a Wednesday through Tuesday season. It's not your typical, week, Sunday through Saturday or something. So read the dates on it. Make sure you're hunting within your season and within your zone, stuff like that. But should be a good season and should be a lot of fun. I don't think we'll have a lot of snow down here, so we should be looking at a typical season.
Awesome. I can't wait. Jake, appreciate it as always, buddy. Great catching up with you, and be safe out there if you do have to go out on the water or anything like that.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm thinking about dropping the boat out this weekend, depending on if there's other guys out there. So, not to take up all your time, but with that, if anyone's listening and you are going to go out, just make sure you got those life jackets ready. Make sure you got your throwable. Make sure you got all your boating stuff up to par and that your engine works, because you definitely don't want your engine to cut out when you're in the middle of the current on a river right now.
No, not at all. Good tip. Jake, appreciate it, buddy, and we'll catch up with you next week. Yeah, you too, bud. There you go.
Thanks, Jake. Happy Easter.
There you go. Jake Boakes, Conservation Warden, joining us here this morning. We're going to take a break and then wrap things up here this morning. We'll get you an update on the leaderboard for the Masters. Don't have a Brewer game tonight. Don't have a Bucks game tonight. So get a little bit of a night off, I guess, if you want. So, but we'll be back in just a couple minutes to wrap things up. Next Tuesday night, we're going to be at the Lismore Packers Tailgate Tour, making a stop at the Lismore to help benefit the Bolton Refuge House. Still got some tickets available. Just head to boltonrefugehouse.org and get your tickets now before it's too late. Should be a lot of fun Tuesday night. We'll be emceeing it. So Aaron Jones, Romeo Dobbs, Elton Jenkins, Eddie Lacy, Clinton Dix, Devon House, and Mark Murphy will all be in attendance. So hopefully we'll see you there next Tuesday. He's getting ready in about half an hour. He's on the range right now.
Time does he tee off?
9:18.
9:18 our time.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. He's on the range right now. He's sweating pretty good.
Well,
72 degrees over there right now.
Good for them. They better enjoy it because it sounds like it's not going to stay that way.
No, he's looks like he was working on the 3 or 5 wood off the tee a little bit there too. So, but he's on the range, ready to go.
He can
know what we're
adapt to the
talking
golf.
about.
He can adapt to the golf course more than any player that I've ever seen. I remember years ago when he won the British Open, or he won the Open. I don't know if he ever used a driver, but he never hit into one of those sand traps. Played 30 or 72 holes, never was in a trap, and walked away with the Open. I mean, the guy knows how to adjust his game to the golf course and conditions.
Got a big group right now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 all tied for first. 1 under right now is the leading score. Mike Weir's through 8 at 1 under too. Sergio's even. Freddie Couple is even. I think Patrick Reed was even too. So 1 under right now is the leading score out on the course. So I think numbers might be a little bit lower with the weather, depending on, like not lower, but I guess higher in this instance.
Oh yeah, the scores.
Yeah, not the 10 under, 12 under.
I think it's going to depend a lot if there's wind, and how hard it rains. These guys can play in the rain, and I think too, if it rains, like we were talking earlier, it'll soften up the course, and they're going to be throwing darts at the pins if it's raining, unless it's a gully washer. But these guys can adapt to most anything.
So Tiger's got the big dog. I'm watching him in the Masters. I love this part too, like the Masters. So like their tee boxes on the driving range. Have you seen them? Like you get like the golf course. It's the white tips or whatever. It's just a couple of wood logs. Yeah. It's just a couple of wooden logs there. So nothing fancy.
Keep them a little bit apart.
Yep, nothing fancy though. No fancy sign or anything. Just looked like somebody went in the backwoods and chopped up some firewood and
got a little white birch out and put them down.
Yep, exactly. So, but 9:18, he is teeing off with Xander Schauffele and Victor Hovland. That'll be obviously a featured group if you want to watch it online at their website, so you can follow along with that group only. Do you think Tiger makes the cut?
Yep, I think he hasn't played a lot, and I think he's been working on his stamina. And we were talking earlier about the advantage he has with the morning today and afternoon tee time tomorrow. I think that'll help him get off his feet later today and rest up until later tomorrow.
Hopefully that's just nothing, but he does still have a little bit of a limp, it looks like.
Yeah,
too, so.
Yeah. I don't think he's ever going to get rid of that.
Yeah, man. He's a different creature, though.
Oh, there's no question.
Different creature. All right. So I know what you'll be watching, probably. Throughout the day today. So
yeah, later on I'll be sitting there and watching them play. Doesn't really come on regular TV.
No, they just had the times. It's not going to be till the afternoon, so you can watch. Ooh, what was that?
So now I don't know the Golf Channel, or if it's going to be on network TV, or who's going to have it this afternoon. But it'll be interesting. I think the big story is going to be for the announcers to, at least in the the talking heads that are doing all the advanced stuff, is going to be Live versus the PGA is what they're going to be looking at. Like you said, Sergio and Patrick Reed are now 1 under. A couple of guys from the Live Tour, both past winners of the Masters.
It looked like I don't want to be dramatic or anything, but it looked like on his last hit there, something didn't look good.
Tiger twisted something, huh?
He's taking a little bit of a break right now. He's switching it up to an iron. So, not to be over dramatic right now, but sure I'm a Tiger guy, so I'm going to overanalyze everything that I see now on Tiger. He's back up there getting ready to hit some irons now. So, all right. Anyways, we talked a lot about the Brewers. Obviously, 5-1 start to the season. A little off day today. before they take on the Reds starting tomorrow for a 3-game series before they head up to the West Coast. Bucks, looks like the majority of you saying rest Middleton, sit him down for the next 2 games for sure. Looks like majority of you also want Giannis shut down for the next couple of games here too. So I think
Whatever,
maybe,
yeah, they're not going to forget how to play.
No. Yeah, exactly. Especially I think it might be more of a protection for Giannis than anything, just to sit him down so he doesn't go full bore.
Yeah,
Guy
'cause when
doesn't
he
know
goes
an
in
off
there, he does
switch.
it,
Yeah. He doesn't know 90%. He only knows 100% every single
Yeah,
time.
100% plus, that's for
Mhm.
sure. Hey, on a different subject, I haven't had a chance to listen a whole lot, but our Badger insider that argued down there in Madison, what is he saying? Has he been at the Badger football practices? And what is he saying? Are there any quarterbacks in school, or what's he saying
Yeah,
about any possible talent?
No, Mordecai's. They're all there. Mordecai's, going to be the number 1 guy. It looks like very high tempo, fast pace offense over there. It was a kind of a fun video if you want to see their new offense coordinator Phil Longo. He was mic'd up for practice yesterday. He's going to be a goofy character, but it looks like he's got that connection with players and all that too.
Good.
Like
I know Alan. He sounds like he's excited about this new regime and the new system and the new opportunity. So
Yep.
that'll be good.
He was mic'd up, and Mordecai was saying his girlfriend was actually at practice today, and Phil was going to meet him or meet her, and he was talking to her. He's like, "Well, how long have you guys been together?" And she said 3 years. He immediately grabs her hand. He's like, "Dude, what's going on? Looking for the wedding ring?" But he seems like the type of coach players are going to really gravitate towards. Kind of relate to a little bit there. So, speaking of Badger, I don't know if you saw the other day, Tyler Wall is coming back for his 5th year to the Badger basketball team. So,
oh boy.
And
I expected that because there's no place he's going to go. I mean, even to go to Europe, I don't know if he's good enough even to go to Europe at this point in time. So if he wants to play competitively, he had no choice but to come back. And what guard, I'm sure, said, "Yeah, you're welcome back," whether he told him, you're still in our plans, or, you might not see a lot of playing time. I don't know what his future is with the Badgers. I hope they have players that are better than Tyler Wall. That's, nothing against the kid, but he's not that good a player to compete in the Big Ten and compete nationally. And I think, this tournament this year really showed that to rate teams at the beginning of the year is really a crapshoot. Because nobody was rated at the beginning of the year ended up doing anything that was worth anything. Connecticut wasn't on top.
North Carolina was the number 1 team.
And they didn't even make the tournament. So this transfer portal is more so now more important by far than freshman eligibility. They thought, we'll let freshmen play that. It's been years ago, but that'll really change the game. Well, the transfer portal has in the men and the women's game. I mean, LSU had 1 player on the team last fall. And by the time they started, last summer rather, and by the time they started, they had 9 transfers that came into LSU as part of the women's program. And we all know what they did. And I don't know how far Gardy said he's deep into the portal, but what that'll, result in remains to be seen as far as quality players. Numbers are one thing, quality is another.
Yeah, I know you were yelling at me down the hallway asking if I'd seen that the women's national championship game, but women's basketball, that was pretty fun this year with Caitlin Clark in Iowa and all the other teams down there.
At that level now, it's getting very fun to watch. It really is, because there are some kids that can now play the game. But and that's why it's 9 transfers to put that team together to make them a national champion. You got to give their coach Kim Mulkey credit because she had kids coming from places in Texas. What's her name came from Maryland, so she had them coming from all over the country. And how she recruited just the right mix, I don't know, but she made it work. And it'll be interesting, I think, too, what kind of a transfer portal we're going to see into Iowa next year. Who's going to, because Caitlin Clark's got 2 years left. She doesn't qualify at the WNBA, and if she wants to play another year, but, who wants to play with Caitlin Clark? Because she's not only such a great scorer, but she's a
She's a
passing
facilitator
machine.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how good Iowa is next year going into the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the transfer portal is much more important now than freshman eligibility.
I would agree.
Getting a freshman in.
I would agree. Yeah, definitely. I agree. Mike Hastings, you like him as the new men's hockey coach?
Sounds like a real accomplished player, or a real accomplished coach, rather, over at Mankato, Minnesota State. And I think he's going to change the culture there. And sometimes you got to go outside. Granado was a Wisconsin guy, played and this, that, and the other thing.
Paul Chris was a Wisconsin
guy, and
Yep.
And I have no problem with giving those guys a chance. But this is big time business. Besides athletic, this is big time money.
Mm-hmm.
And that hockey program used to more or less carry its own weight, and it hasn't in the recent past with Granado and I forgot who was just ahead of him.
Eves.
But yeah, and it kind of just slid far enough, and under Granado, it slid a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so this guy brings it back to where Wisconsin hockey, it's kind of lost its appeal, so to speak, because the Civ chant came out of Wisconsin. You don't really hear that anymore. You bring some of those things back, the winning tradition, so this school can make a hockey program pay for itself. I think that's going to make a lot of difference. And I think this guy talking to the recruits and the players that are on the team, it sounds like he's a hit, like the football coach Fickle.
Yeah, I was telling this to Luke the other day because I know a lot of people are kind of looking at Greg Gard's job status and that. And I kind of made the phrase or said this, that I've got a lot. I've got trust that Badger basketball, because I think Luke was talking about with the transfer portal and that, more teams can maybe be involved in the tournament. I remember I said a few years ago when Badgers were in the national title game, I was like, oh, that's never going to happen again. But now if they do it right, that's where I got confidence that the Badger basketball team will bounce back and be, back in the tournament, Sweet 16, Elite 8, and it's because of Chris McIntosh. Like, I feel like he's not going to let that program, go down into the tank. Because look what he did with football. Hopefully it works out. It looks like it's going to hockey, making the move. I feel like he ain't going to let it get down that far.
No, I don't think so. And the thing is, you got to be smart about recruiting. Yeah, you're coming to Wisconsin. You're playing basketball inside. Yes, you have classes. You got to, it's not like Duluth up there where you got to tunnel to all the buildings. I mean, that's not possible at a school like Madison. But you bring them in at the right time of the year. Now in the spring, you take them over to, and these kids have different priorities. But still in all, you take them to the Union South. You're on lakes. You're on, it's a beautiful campus setting compared to, University of Illinois is sitting out in the middle of a prairie. They have corn growing all the way around that school. So it's not the enticement that Madison is. And I think a good coach is going to use the surrounding environment to attract these kids. But, don't bring them here in January and February. Bring them here in May, June, football games in September and October.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, go watch some golf here in a little bit. So.
John Rahm, the winner.
You heard it here first.
I'm going home and have a Kasper cream puff.
You had to do that, man. We'll see you at Hy-Vee tomorrow morning, 6 a.m.